After a disappointing opening day loss in Tennessee, California is once again firing on all cylinders. From the passing game, to the running game, to the defense, Cal's impressive win over the Big Ten's Minnesota Golden Gophers squarely puts them back into the national spotlight. Today, they'll display their skills before the home crowd against a nationally ranked, physically tough squad from Portland State. It should be a roaring good time. Vikings and Bears next on Comcast Sportsnet. The enduring symbol in Berkeley, the Campanile on a Bear football Saturday. And here comes California taking the field at Memorial Stadium. Today, the 21st ranked team in the nation faces the 13th ranked team out of Division I AA, the Portland State University Vikings. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Berkeley and to Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Cal Bear football. I'm Greg Popp alongside the former Bear quarterback Mike Pulaski. We're going to spend the next 3 hours together, and you've already told me a lie. You told me they retired your number 9 here.
Well, we tried to get a petition signed, but we only got 3 signatures, and 2 of them are my parents.
Not enough.
So Nate ends up with number 9.
Nate Longshore's wearing number 9 proudly. First game out, obviously, opening day in Knoxville. A little rough, but he played real well last Saturday here against Minnesota.
Always tough to start against the Vols. Came back at home, at Cal, felt more comfortable, and lit it up last week.
Of course, he certainly has the weapons around him, both in the offensive backfield and in the wide receiving core.
Any Jeff Tedford coach team is going to have offensive balance. That's the key to this game. And here's one of the big reasons. Marshawn Lynch, Heisman candidate, averaging 106.5 yards per game, including that Tennessee game that we talked about. And then Mr. Outside here, Justin Forsett, quick as a cat, a perfect duo with Marshawn Lynch running the football. 2 great tailbacks in this Cal program. And then through the air, we talked about Longshore, but here he is on the touchdown, striking it downfield, throwing on the move in the play-action pass, great for his game. And part of his passing game is great receivers. You have number 7 here, Lavelle Hawkins, big catch downfield on the tip. And then on the other side, Deshaun Jackson, 11 receptions, second on the team, but 4 touchdowns.
Longshore threw for exactly 300 yards last week and 4 touchdowns in the first half alone of the 42-17 win over Minnesota. The Bears are now 1-1 on the year, up against the 2-0 Portland State Vikings. Yes, they are from Division I AA, but they already have a win over a Division I school in New Mexico. Mike, now when I think of Portland State, I think of throwing the football and Neil Lomax from the 70s, but this team is winning behind their defense.
Yeah, throwing the ball, Portland State goes together. You think of Neil Lomax, June Jones, but now this is a defensive football team, and they win it on the other side. We see against New Mexico State, a lot of quarterback pressure, 1 sack here, then big Cole Smith, number 50, coming in with a big hit on the quarterback. These guys get after it. All that pressure forces quarterbacks to make bad reads and bad throws. They get the interception. Only 3 field goals versus this team in 2 games, including 1 Division I-A opponent.
So if they're going to win today, they're going to have to get a big performance from their defense. They'll probably struggle on offense because California very quietly has one of the more solid defenses in the country, led by the senior defensive tackle Brandon Mebane. He may be the best player on either side of the ball in the entire Pac-10 conference. When we come back, we'll check in with Scott Marsh with more on Mebane.
On a Cal team known more for its defense, defensive tackle Brandon Mebane is a superstar in the making. A preseason first-team All-American pick, Mebane is drawing plenty of attention from opposing offenses.
Brandon Mebane is the irresistible force of the Cal defense. At 6'3", 295 pounds, Mebane is an inside disruptor that keys the Bears' defense.
The thing that separates Brandon Mebane from just the average defensive lineman is his incredible ability to exert force and power. I mean, he is he literally is a force within the defense in terms of whether it's a single team or a double team. He can split it and knock it back.
In addition to his physical prowess, Mebane's biggest attribute might be his patience. Despite constant double teams, he not only wreaks havoc with the running game, but can get after the quarterback as well. A year ago, he led the Bears with 7 sacks and added another one last week against Minnesota.
Back to throw, Cupido. Cupido steps up, and he will take a sack for the first time in the last 9 games.
And you always hear about D tackles that, well, he's a run stopper and he gets double teams. That's sort of a cop-out. It really is. I mean, there's no such thing as just being a run stopper. You have to be able to do both, and he is a very, very formidable pass rusher and his skills are constantly developing.
Sometime in the game it's going to come where my opportunity come where they're not going to double team me, and basically, just stay focused, be patient, and things will come fall in place.
During a game, Mebane's jersey number 52 can usually be found around the ball, drawing rave reviews from teammates and opponents. But it is his uniform before and after games that also draws attention. Always dapper and dashing, he takes great pride in his attire.
I feel, when I wear the suit, that I feel like, just like $1 million. I feel real good about myself, and I feel confident. Well, when I buy a suit, I look for, like this color, the design, what kind of designs is in it, what shoes I can wear with it, or, how would it look on me, what kind of color is it? Is it like a dark color or light color? Because, like in the summer, like right now, I try to wear, like bright colors. And when we get tight to November, I try to like tone it down, wear like, darker colors. So try to like even it out.
Mebane has tried to pattern his game after guys like Warren Sapp, Larry Triplett, and former Bear Lorenzo Alexander. Shorter defensive tackles with great power and leverage. If he continues his current level of play, he'll be styling next year on Sundays in the NFL.
No wonder why Mebane is a lead candidate for the Outland Trophy, given annually to the best linemen in the country. The kickoff and the starting lineups coming up next right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Afternoon here in Berkeley. No more beautiful setting at all to college football. And their Bears are ready to take on the Portland State Vikings. Marshawn Lynch, of course, the star on offense. You heard from Scott about Brandon Mebane, their star on defense. But Marshawn Lynch, after rushing for over 1,200 yards last year, is off to a big start at a big game here last week against Minnesota with 139 yards and a couple of scores. And there's no doubt Marshawn Lynch is a legit Heisman Trophy candidate.
The Bears had a bounce-back game against Minnesota was the performance of Heisman Trophy candidate Marshawn Lynch. The junior from Oakland carried the ball 27 times for 139 yards, including an electrifying 5-yard gallop in the third quarter. He also accounted for 56 yards on kickoff returns. For the season, Lynch has amassed 213 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns, and in the process has become only the 9th player in Cal history to rush for more than 2,000 yards in a career.
Press play.
And Jeff Tedford obviously is known for all the great quarterbacks he has developed that are now playing on Sunday in the NFL, Mike, but he's always had a good runner in the backfield.
Well, that's the key. The reason his quarterbacks have so much success, as we talked about, is balance. He always has great running backs behind him. You think of guys like Dilfer, you think of Joey Harrington, a lot of the guys he's coached, Kyle Bowler, Aaron Rodgers. There's always a great tailback that corresponds to those quarterbacks.
On the other sideline today is Tim Walsh in his 14th year at Portland State, the winningest coach in their history, and he's guided the Vikings to 4 1AA playoff appearances, the former head coach at Sonoma State. Now, you may be wondering, why is Cal playing a school that is from Division I AA? Well, the reason is Louisiana Tech dropped the game, and Cal back in the spring had to add one. And it certainly makes sense to add this school because Portland State, they've already beaten a team from Division I this year against New Mexico, and they have 2, along with a win against Hawaii a few years ago. They've beaten 2 Division I schools in their history.
Well, yeah, and a nationally ranked 1AA program, always good every year, very consistent. There you see Nate Longshore. Of course, last week he had his best numbers of his whole career, only really 2 half starts. He played 2 games, finally got to finish a game last week, said, hey, I got to see what the fourth quarter was like. It was kind of fun.
A complete game.
Imagine that.
And he had sparkling numbers for Coach Tedford, 22 of 31 for an even 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, all coming in the first half. They are getting excited here at Memorial Stadium as the Bears will play their final non-conference game. They're going to be hosting Arizona State here next week, and you cannot have a more ideal mid-September Saturday afternoon here. Humidity is low, a slight breeze, sunny skies, and 74 delightful degrees here in Strawberry Canyon. As I said earlier, Mike, is there a more beautiful setting on a college football Saturday than right here in Berkeley?
Hey, well, if there is, I have yet to see it. Memorial Stadium has some of the greatest game days anywhere in the country.
We are going to talk to the AD here in California. Sandy Barber will update us on the stadium renovation, which they hope to get going very shortly here, but certainly love the vantage point from Memorial Stadium. This is the first time Portland State University's ever been here. They've never played Cal before in a football game. We mentioned they are 2-0 overall, and they are going to kick off to open the game, and they have a tremendous defense. Eric Azor will kick off. Marshawn Lynch has a bit of a bad ankle, so he will not return kickoffs today. They are going to drop back. Is he wearing number 2? Marcus O'Keefe is back to return this kick.
Oh, Marcus O'Keefe, actually the third tailback for this Bears squad, could be starting or at least playing on a lot of other teams in the Pac-10.
Well, he was supposed to wear number 80 on the kickoff returns, but he is wearing 2.
It depends on which team he's on, because he's going to correspond and cross over with Bernard Hicks. So some special teams will be wearing 2, some will be wearing 80.
All right, so it is Marcus O'Keefe. I wanted to make sure it was Marcus back, and this one's going to skip by him for a touchback, and the Bears will start from their 20-yard line. They have 2 number 2s, and their 2 best players both wear number 10. Desmond Bishop, one of the very best players on the defensive side, is their middle linebacker. But here goes Longshore and the Bears offensively. Nate, big, strong quarterback, 6'5", 223-pound sophomore, Mike. And we'll talk about the spread offense and what Mike Dunbar has implemented, but certainly Longshore took to it very well here last Saturday.
Well, he's been good. You know, he got the start last season against Sac State, broke his ankle right off. This guy can play the position. He just has to settle into it.
There goes Marshawn Lynch on the game's first carry. Actually, it's Forsett that opens the game. Justin Forsett with the first carry. We'll see Lynch a little bit later on, along with the fullback, the bus, Byron Storer behind. Craig Stevens concussed on the first play of the year, and Knoxville is back. Robert Jordan and Deshaun Jackson. Also, we'll see a lot of Lavelle Hawkins. Andrew Cameron's going to miss today with an ankle injury, so Mike Tepper will make the start at left tackle, protecting the blind side for Longshore. And with a 2nd down and 9, here's the pitch coming to Forsett, and a nice open field tackle made by a very stout defense that is featured at Portland State. They played brilliantly in their first 2 games, allowing just 262.5 yards per game, forcing 7 turnovers, and not giving up a touchdown. Their front 4 is very strong. Matisse Gehring is the headliner on their front 4. They have 3 Division I transfers. Adam Hayward leads them in both overall tackles with 25 and quarterback sacks. In the defensive backfield, they play a cover 2 defense. The safeties play deep, and their best cover corner is number 6, Dominic Dixon. So 3rd down for Longshore. And he's going deep, and it's intercepted by one of those deep safeties. The Longshore throws it away right away. Michael Dorsey, the right safety, on the interception for Portland State.
Well, we saw that interception by New Mexico in the open. Longshore just forcing that ball. Early game jitters. He locked on to his receiver running down the seam. Should not have thrown that ball. Should have come back and thrown it underneath. Instead, he just missed it. You see him here, 3 receivers, 2 running up the seam, just a 4 vertical route. He locks on to the man covered by 2 men, had cover over the top, threw it right into coverage.
Dorsey plays deep, and that safety slot of the cover 2 defense, he plays very deep, and that's the interception thrown by Longshore, his 2nd of the year. So here come the Vikings going right away, and it is caught out there by Tremaine Kirkland, a transfer from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So Portland State, who is known for their defense, right now into the red zone. In fact, inside the 10-yard line. Sawyer Smith is the quarterback. He was just named the Big Sky Conference Offensive Player of the Week for his great week last week in their win against Northern Colorado, as he threw for 254 yards and a couple of scores. And he stumbles going back, and the Bears jump on him back on the 7-yard line. He may have got tangled up with one of his offensive linemen there.
Yeah, you know what happens? We talked about Brandon Mebane and the big push he gets inside. Well, he just got up underneath that center, jacked him back, ended up stepping on his quarterback Smith's feet,
James McGee, Mike, makes the start for Portland State as their featured back. Very strong offensive line. They led the Big Sky in rushing for 2 straight years. Brennan Carvalho, a 19-year-old junior left guard from Hawaii, is the headliner there. Now it's 2nd down and goal from the 11-yard line. Movement on the line.
That's going to be a free play.
Flag comes down. He jumped off sides. And they do run at McGee. And they'll take the penalty and take it back inside the 10-yard line.
Nice job by Sawyer Smith using his snap count early on, knowing they're going to get pressure from that Cal D line. Use your snap count, get them to jump. That settles them down, and you get less pressure during the game.
Brian O'Kane, our referee today, as the Bears jump off sides with the hard count. And Mebane right over the ball. And it was Mebane trying to get a rolling start here. Of course, the Bears started slowly, as you'll recall, last Saturday against Minnesota. Gave up a quick touchdown as a tight end got loose in the secondary. Then they gave up a kickoff return for a score.
Well, they have yet to start out strong in the season. They came back strong versus Minnesota, but Tennessee, they started out shaky and kind of shook themselves apart. Then against Minnesota, started slow but finished strong.
2nd and goal from the 6. And here's McGee getting nothing right in the middle of the Bear front.
We talked about Desmond Bishop earlier. That was Bishop breaking through that O-line for Portland State and making the tackle.
We talked about Mebane, one of the best defensive linemen in the entire nation, anchoring what is thought to be maybe the best defensive line in the country. Middle linebacker is Desmond Bishop, arguably the Pac-10's best middle linebacker in the secondary. Damian Hughes, first-team All-Pac-10 selection last year, had a couple of interceptions last week against Minnesota. The Bears trying to hold him out of the end zone here. 3rd down and goal as the tight end Matt Nelson goes in motion. They run McGee again, a very conservative attack here as they do not throw it towards the end zone.
Well, and just ran into a whole swarm of blue shirts out there. You see great pursuit by that Cal defensive line. We keep talking about how good they are. This is the reason why. When you sense pressure going one way, you fight across that pressure. Swarm of blue shirts, and Desmond Bishop on top to clean it up as well. You see linebackers and defensive linemen there doing their jobs.
Abu Mafada in on the tackle here. They're going to bring on the field goal unit, go for a very short field goal attempt here. And that was hooked, but it got through the upright, and it is made there on the kick by Eric Azor. But the Bears have to be happy about that after the early interception and the completion to Kirkland. Portland State had a 1st and goal situation, and Tedford's defense held them out. Live as head coach Art Shell answers the tough questions and breaks down the Raiders' strategies, performance, and competition. Raider press conference live comes your way this Monday at 1 o'clock here on Comcast Sportsnet, as the Raiders will be in Baltimore tomorrow morning trying to bounce back.
You asking some of those tough questions yourself?
Yeah, I've been known to ask a few of them myself, although we were a little sympathetic to their plight after Monday's performance. Hopefully they'll play better coming up tomorrow in Baltimore. And let's see what the Bears do. You know, the big difference from their win last week against Minnesota versus the loss they had the week before in Knoxville was more self-inflicted. They made a lot of sloppy mistakes in the game in Knoxville.
If you're a Cal fan and you hear the score, it scares you. You think, wow, this Bears team's so highly rated. You know, Tennessee dismantled them. But you watch the tape, and Cal dismantled themselves. Tennessee didn't take them apart. Cal fell apart. And so the coaches knew that it was all correctable mistakes. Now they have an opportunity to do better.
Big hole for O'Keefe, the midfield, and out to the 45-yard line. Nice run back there by Marcus O'Keefe, a 41-yard kickoff return as he takes over for Marshawn Lynch.
I tell you what, look at this blue and gold swarm. Normally you get penetration by the white jerseys. The first white jersey doesn't see the runner until a 25-yard line. That is great return blocking by that Cal Bear kick return team.
Marshawn Lynch normally runs back the kickoffs, and he's not played yet. Justin Forsett has taken over as the running back, as possibly the ankle injury that has been bothering Lynch since the opener in Knoxville is bothering him more as they go empty. That's a backwards pass to Lynch. Blockers out in front. They're actually out to Forsett, and he is dropped on the Bear 49-yard line.
Nice play design here. Just a quick screen to the outside as we take a look. Your quarterback, you get an empty set, and sometimes it's been a check in college football when you get an empty set to run the blitz. Right inside here, 6 guys across the line of scrimmage, 6 total for the defense. Swing it outside, and you get your 2 receivers downfield to block. It's just as good as any running play. and a nice way to spread those big guys out. Again, Portland State's strength on that defensive line, make them run.
And now Justin Forsett leaves. They bring in Marshawn Lynch, who was to the left, and he takes the inside handoff out of the gun. And Portland State's very rugged, swarming defense is there. This is the strength of their team, their front four. And it's Cole Smith, a junior right defensive end from Springfield, Oregon. He is the only guy that did not transfer from a Division I school. They have transfers from UCLA, from Oregon State, from Washington, and Dave Howell, who we'll see later on play in the rotation, actually transferred from the University of Miami.
And a lot of guys you think, oh yeah, they transferred in because they weren't playing. Some of these guys actually started in their respective schools. So Portland State, the benefactor of these guys moving on.
They have 17 players on their roster that formerly played at Division I schools. 3rd down and 7 for Longshore over the middle. It is caught for a first down, and an ankle tackle saves the touchdown on Deshaun Jackson. But Jackson almost took it the whole way. As in Cal's last 4 games, including the bowl game last year, Mike, he has scored 7 touchdowns.
Well, he is an outstanding receiver out there. He is 4.3 fast. I talked to Pete Alomar today, and he said, you know, this guy can be as fast as he wants to be as soon as he figures it out. The trick here, though, is you've got Jackson isolated one-on-one on the outside. Once you get that, you go to your speed guide. Let him use his skills.
Deshaun Jackson had 3 touchdown receptions last week, all in the first half. Longshore under pressure, and he almost threw a pick again. There was nobody there at all. This Portland State front four busting on through. Jimmy Coe, who we talked about earlier, can really put some pressure on you. Already has 1 quarterback sack this year.
And we talked about some of that pressure. The question is here, Longshore was not outside the tackle box, or if he was just outside the tackle box, and he did throw that ball away. You see, just a step that could have been ruled intentional grounding.
Yeah, there was no receiver out there. The closest player to coming up with a catch was actually a Portland State defender.
Actually a smart play by a quarterback. If you're going to get sacked anyway, might as well take the penalty.
Inside handoff to Lynch, breaks a tackle inside the 10, and Lynch takes it all the way inside the 5-yard line before he's pushed out.
One of the most amazing things about Lynch, if you've ever watched him play, you cannot tackle him one-on-one. You very rarely see one defender bring him down. This is just a front side zone blocking play out of their spread package that we talked about. Nice hole opened up by that offensive line, but initial contact cannot bring him down. 3-4 guys hit him on the sideline, and he still keeps his balance. You can see he's even hobbling a little bit on that ankle, but you still can't bring him down. He has the greatest balance of any running back I've seen in the Pac-10 for the last several years.
25-yard run by Marshawn. I think they're going to see where he stepped out of bounds is possibly the review. He may have stepped out before he took it down to the 1-yard line. So Brian O'Kane, our head referee, is going to go over and take a look at this. And we're going to show you exactly what they are looking at, and we'll see if Lynch stepped out before he got to the 1-yard line.
So all this is clean. No penalties there, but they're going to look for the spot down here. You see Lynch, and watch his foot. That's the foot that they were looking for. He jumps out. That's where he's out of bounds. Right inside the 1-yard line, because that left foot did not touch the white line. So where that ball was when he stepped actually on the line.
Well, if Cal can get in here, depending if it's on the 1-yard line or a little further out, it'll be the first time that Portland State has allowed a touchdown all year. They've allowed just 3 field goals in their previous 2 games. They forced now 8 turnovers, including the interception thrown by Longshore. And they have 7 quarterback sacks. And talking to Jeff Tedford yesterday, he obviously has a great respect for Portland State. And the one worry, I would think, is just his players coming out a little flat. They had the 2 big games they pointed to start at Tennessee, and of course the home game against the Big Ten school, Minnesota. Next week they begin conference play. This would be the 1 week where they may let down a little bit.
Yeah, there's a real possibility of coming out flat. I mean, it's an emotional roller coaster here, because against Tennessee, we talked to Jeff, and he said he thought maybe they were a little cranked up. You know, they were playing Rocky Top for 2 weeks prior to the game in the locker room at 6 a.m. They really pumped these guys up, and it showed up in their play. These guys were so keyed up. They were dropping passes. They were making mistakes. They were trying to go for things that they shouldn't normally go for. So now you come out against a 1AA opponent, and there is an opportunity to come out flat.
Referee Bob O'Kane thought that Lynch's foot touched the line. They move it back out to the 3-yard line. That's debatable, but no big deal. His run now is 23 yards. Longshore looking end zone, throwing, and it is caught for a touchdown.
Moving
that
ball back actually makes it easier for a quarterback. Opens up a little space in that end zone to throw, and you can get some gaps, some open space.
Cameron Mora, the tight end, gets his hand on the ball for the first time today. They've had to use a little more tight end play behind Stevens, who's been out to injury. And Mora comes up with the touchdown. A redshirt freshman from nearby Claremont High School. Well, the Bears get two big plays, starting with the opening kickoff from O'Keefe, a 41-yard return, and Jackson a 27-yard catch, Lynch a 23-yard run. And here's Schneider for the point after, and the Bears have taken now a 7-3 lead. I think Portland State, after they came up with the interception on the opening series, needed to come up with a touchdown, and they were held out of the end zone, settling for just a field goal. And Cal comes right down the field and long short throws his 5th touchdown pass of the year. Mike becomes right back and throws this touchdown pass.
Well, obviously a little unsettled early, but play action on the goal line. Nothing better for a quarterback. Draw those big bodies inside and find an open space. Nice target out there to throw the ball to.
And that was a 6-play, 55-yard drive. Cameron Mora with a touchdown catch. Lynch with a 23-yard run, and Jackson a 27-yard catch. Tom Schneider, who was Cal's 10th all-time leading scorer, will kick away. Kenneth Matkins is back to return. He's a real blazer, a 60-meter champion of the Big Sky Conference. Good kick by Schneider will be taken inside the 5-yard line. This is Dominic Dixon, a cornerback on the return, not Matkins, and he's out across the 20-yard line.
Dixon, a guy preseason All-American in that corner position for Portland State, very highly rated.
And we'll see what Sawyer Smith does, and I'm a little surprised they didn't look to the end zone after having such great field position. They were a little conservative after the interception, wound up settling for 3 points, and they figured to struggle offensively against Cal's defense
today.
Well,
a great surge by that D-line on Cal. They figured come away from, with points. You never take points off the board, and if you have the 3 points, take it.
Well, here's Sawyer Smith again with a cadence and a jump off sides. Free play on the running play. Ho'okano on the carry for the Portland State University Vikings. He was their featured back the first couple of weeks, but now they've gone to James McGee. Here's O'Kane again.
Offside, number 53 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Tafisi jumps offside, so that's twice now. Earlier it was Mebane who did it, and now Tafisi jumps offside, so the cadence of Sawyer Smith getting to the Bear front four.
Yeah, nice job by Smith up there. He had 700 snaps coming into the season, a lot of experience. He's gotten the feel of the game. There's that big Cal offensive line in there, those guys moving around the field. Good job on that first offensive drive for them, scoring a touchdown.
And this quarterback's a smart kid, a two-time academic All-Big Sky Conference performer. First down and 5. Little screen pass, and it's broken up as they tried to throw the bubble screen to the receiver, Tremaine Kirkland. And Cal jumps all over that. Warrell Williams, the weak side linebacker, got in the passing lane.
Well, Warrell Williams and Sidquan Thompson, remember, he was the guy versus Tennessee, missed a big tackle going after the interception. Jeff Tedford told us yesterday that this guy has incredible talent. He drives on the ball like nobody. And Williams and Thompson ended up getting locked up there, a little tackle.
Warrell Williams, a very instinctive player, very often gets in the passing lanes. His older brother, DJ Williams, of course, the star of De La Salle over in Concord and out of Miami, now playing in the NFL with the Denver Broncos. Smith rolling to his left, throwing and overthrowing his intended receiver, Kirkland, who's obviously going to be his target. Meanwhile, Smith got rocked.
And he is hurting down the field.
There are no flags on the field, but Sawyer Smith is in a lot of pain.
And you hate to see that with a quarterback, throwing the ball. You expose yourself to getting whacked.
I think Nu'u Tafisi, Mike, number 53, will get in here and pop him just as he releases the football.
And just one step. That's a shot. It's hard to tell. Obviously came down hard, and he's fully exposed.
Was it on the landing or the helmet into the sternum? I think that's where he landed as he's reaching for his lower body. There's Tafisi, who had a good open shot, and that was a clean play.
Absolutely clean. One step, he had it, take the shot. Defensive lineman, you have to do that with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think it's his lower body. He got popped in the midsection around the sternum area, but I think it's a little bit lower.
Sometimes you come down like that and you hit full body, and it's just shocking to your whole system. And he came down pretty hard, very flat.
Their backup is a redshirt freshman who has not played before, Ty Howland, who may be forced into play here. As Portland State, there is the backup. Howland taking some snaps from center. He has not played before. He is up from the state of Washington, Cedro Woolley High School up there, where he was a basketball, baseball star. And this would be his first action. The redshirt freshman will be forced into play here.
It's a tough place to play.
This is arguably the biggest audience. We'll see what the crowd is, but this could be the largest crowd that Portland State University's ever played before. They played a game at Oregon a few years ago, 4 years ago, and it was over 56,000. We should have about that today. And he may be forced into action here to make his collegiate debut. As Sawyer Smith gets up very slowly, gets a nice ovation, as he has that long walk across the field to the Portland State sideline.
And that was rough. That was, he came down so hard, his whole body. It's just very shocking to the system when you get hit like that.
The good news, Mike, he is able to put some weight. And it looks like the right leg took the brunt of it. But what are you thinking right now if you're Ty Howland being forced into the game here, and you got to deal with this front four?
That is one of those, I got to get this down first. The first thing that they're going to have to worry about is this quarterback-center exchange. Always a problem. You're switching the snap count. We will see at least one offside penalty against Portland State because he has a different voice inflection than Smith had. So you're going to see a little bit of jerky movement up there until everything starts to flow together. Obviously, Portland State hoping that they can get Smith back on the field, but he's moving a little tentatively right now.
Oh, he is moving gingerly, step by step. He comes over, and there's his head coach, Tim Walsh, to meet him.
And I don't mind telling you, it doesn't matter whether it's grass, turf, it could be a foam bed. You come down like that with your full body, it's tough.
He landed hard. We're back to action. We go 3rd and 5 as Howland takes his first ever collegiate snap from the center, Derek Duff, the senior, and he's going to throw. And he's got a man open, and it'll be tackled shy of the first down. They're not close as they go to Hoho Kano out of the backfield. Nice little safe pass to get him acclimated. Warwell Williams makes another play on that defensive stand.
A safe pass and a nice read. Had a little triangle read to his right side. Quarterbacks work that forever. He's got his tight end coming across the middle right here, and up top out, and then a flat to the corner. Good read by a young quarterback, delivered a nice pass, and actually throws a nice ball.
Well, the punter is on now. Andrew Liebers, who grew up in San Jose. He'll be punting away to Sean Jackson, the dangerous turn man for the Bears, waiting to punt back at his 30-yard line. Liebers averaging over 40 yards a punt. Calling for a fair catch as Jackson coming up, and he'll take it at the California 35-yard line. So a good start for Portland State. Interception on the game's third play from scrimmage, but then Longshore settled down and drove the Bears for a touchdown to go up 7-3. Now the Vikings lose their starting quarterback, Sawyer Smith. And that does not look good as he's now on the training table.
You can see obviously working on his lower back, which is where he landed, flat on his back. So taking a look at that. A lot of back injuries for quarterbacks. Quarterbacks and golfers, you know that?
And you're both.
A lot of road. No, I'm not. I'm definitely not a golfer.
You're a quarterback. I thought all quarterbacks were good golfers.
Well, we try to be.
There's Longshore. Nice catch by Marshawn Lynch, adjusting. Such a great open field runner he is. They're going to tackle him just shy of the first down.
And you see, they still don't get him down. You had him swarmed up. You basically have to trap him. It's like building a wall around him because you can rarely get him down on the ground. So all those white shirts around him, he was the last guy left standing in the pile.
He's a big man, Marshawn Lynch. Those 217 pounds with breakaway speed. He was tackled by a guy who played safety before. They bulked him up and made him a linebacker, Jordan Sin. He went from 200 to 220, so playing linebacker, he's the same size about as Marshawn.
And they say he's so versatile, he could actually play any spot on that defensive side of the ball for Portland State.
Now Cal has double tight ends, 2 receivers. The handoff coming to Lynch, who has an opening. Breaks a tackle.
And how about that straight arm? He just had a nice straight arm off the outside. Just a zone running play is all it is. Hand it off to him, let the lineman figure out the zone up front. You have this left side of the line. You're going to see a double team out here working up to the next level, trying to get the backers. Lynch is just going to take that handoff and work off these key blocks. Nice zone inside. pull by that guard. Lynch outside. Look at that straight arm. That's just physical power. That's why he's so good. He's strong, he's fast, he's big, he's the whole package.
And now they go to a spread formation. Longshore plenty of time, and it is juggled and caught inside the 25-yard line. Deshaun Jackson again gets open on Odell Jackson. That's twice he has beaten him for a big gainer.
Very nice route by Deshaun. Just a corner route down to the outside. But you saw the Bears come out in this bunch package to the field. That means you end up in solo coverage. We saw him get man-to-man coverage before. Jackson with a little bobble. Here you're going to see a corner route down here, okay? Here's the bunch package. That leaves this man soloed up down in the flat, and you end up with the corner route, and you have to respect Deshaun Jackson's speed downfield. We said he's a 4.3 receiver. Actually ran a 4.29 in spring. You got to give him that space.
From Long Beach Poly High School down south, the Bears stole him away from USC. Longshore with a pump fake, and then he gets popped. Should have thrown the ball or gotten out of the pocket there when he pump faked that, left it open for middle linebacker. Actually, Jordan Sen came on the blitz.
He had Sen on the outside, absolutely unblocked. There was nobody there to protect him. So Longshore's got to know where his protection is weak. You see Sen with that cast on, still making a nice tackle. Sen is up here, coming off the outside. Longshore never turned his head that direction. And Sen says, "Hello, Mr. Longshore."
Tough guy playing with a cast on. He has ligament damage in his right hand. His wrist, but the medical staff has just wrapped it up and he's good to go. 2nd and 13 for the Bears on the 26-yard line. Longshore, nice blitz pickup by Forsett, and just through the hands of Robert Jordan, who was open in the end zone, just slightly overthrown.
Yeah, he had it. That's one of those balls, if you're a wide receiver, you don't know if you should lay out for or if you can stay up and catch it. It's that tweener. And you see those oftentimes where the ball's close enough to make the catch, but you see Jordan here. Should I lay out? Oh, right through my hands. And that's a hard ball to adjust back to because it's straight over the top of his head, but he should make that catch.
Justin Forsett, much smaller player than Marshawn Lynch, though, with a nice pickup of the blitzing safety, Michael Dorsey. 3rd and 13 for Longshore. Open man, hits him inside the 10, down to the 5, and fighting to the 2-yard line goes Jordan. Well, they came right back to Robert Jordan, and Cale has a 1st and goal.
You know, he stroked that ball a couple times last week versus Minnesota. It's just a post on the outside. You have the outside here. You're going to see a post down the middle. You're going to be reading this backer. If he gets out of the middle, you're going to throw that post. Take that backer out. And now what do you have? You have an easy post, long gainer, and a perfect pass by Nate Longshore.
Really got to be impressed with the complexity and the diversity of this Cale offense. They can be a power running team, and then they can spread you out and throw the ball all over the place. Forsett trying to take it into the end zone is going to be pushed back just a little bit. Adam Hayward on the tackle.
You hit on something there, Greg. The key to this Cal football team is they are a power running football team. You think of Jeff Tedford, you think of quarterbacks, he's going to run the football at you. We sat and met with him yesterday. He said he loves to keep a tight end in the game because A, you can protect, and B, you can run the football at people, and he's going to run it. Now, he's a quarterback, and he's always had great quarterbacks, but that running game really opens up the passing game for these guys to throw.
2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. Storer, the fullback, sliding in motion. Here's Forsett diving in, and the Bears have their 2nd touchdown of the game.
Not just a touchdown, but a stylish touchdown up over the top.
A little airborne.
I like it.
For Justin Forsett, his 1st touchdown of the year after scoring 6 last year as a sophomore.
Talk about a find. He came in the same year that Marshawn Lynch came in. Actually had an offer from Notre Dame. Notre Dame backed out, said they didn't want him. Cal picked him up from down in Texas, and you couldn't be happier with the recruit than Justin Forsett. Not just a great talented player, but a great team player as well, taking that number 2 role behind Lynch.
Well, running back coach Ron Gould has got to just be loving what he's got in the offensive backfield. He got Marshawn Lynch and his power and breakaway speed, and then he got a guy who's even a little quicker. And here he is, Justin Forsett diving in, capping off a 65-yard drive, 14-3 Bears.
It's the sound no one wants.
The adventures of Sawyer Smith today have not gone well. He got popped a moment ago by Tafisi. It looks like he will not come back anymore. Scott Marsh, what do you have on the quarterback from Portland State?
Well, Greg, the preliminary update is that he hurt his right hip. He was trying to walk it off momentarily, but now you can see him being taken off on the cart. They did say he may return to the game, but as you can tell, it doesn't look too good right now. Back up to you, Greg.
That's the worst sight in all the sports when they have to bring the dreaded cart out.
Yeah, you never want to go off on the cart.
I'm with you. They're saying a hip, but I think it's just his whole lower body right now. You can just see the way he's sitting on that cart.
There's nothing like
Everything hurts.
landing flat on your body. Yeah, it may end up in the right hip, but the whole body took a shock there.
There's Schneider to kick off again. Matkins and Dixon are back. Good depth there by Schneider. He'll pick up the touchback. He's shown a pretty powerful leg so far this year. Tom Schneider, a former walk-on here at Cal. The young man from Walnut Creek, Las Lomas High School, is now the 10th leading scorer in Bear history.
And very consistent kicker. One thing that Jeff Tedford likes about Schneider is on his field goals, he's very consistent. Said he was like a machine the first time he saw him, just knocking him through the uprights. Gave him confidence right off the go.
Now here's Holland. Again, a young man, Teague Holland, forced into his first collegiate football game, a redshirt freshman from Cedarville, Willie, Washington, up in the Pacific Northwest. And he was a great all-around player, second-team All-Northwest League quarterback and safety. The first game he ever started in high school, as that goes through the hands of an intended receiver. That's Kenneth Matkins, who had a chance to make the catch. Holland threw for 323 yards in his first ever start, so he's had some success when he's forced into play.
Well, he can play the game, obviously. He throws a nice ball. He's making a nice read. The coach is confident enough to come out gunning it with him. You know, his first play was a pass. They come back and pass here on first down, so they feel confident in his passing ability.
Tim Walsh, whose club figured to be up against it, certainly on the offensive side, now loses their starting quarterback. 2nd and 10. And he's audibilizing at the line. Play clock is down to 3 for Holland. He's going to have to hurry. And he just does beat the clock. No, maybe he did not. It's going to be a delay game. Did not get the snap in time.
I thought he beat it too because there was no whistle, but whistle's coming up late.
Prior to the snap, delay of game by the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
I said that timing would be a little rough. You get a young quarterback in there, hasn't played a lot of snaps. The snap counts off. He's got his timing off the 25-second clock. A lot of things going through his mind right there. He recognized the defense, said, oh wait, against that defense, I'm supposed to check to this play. Started trying to get into that play, wanted to be loud enough, and all of a sudden the 25-second clock becomes the last thing on your mind.
Well, they do have a junior who actually has played a little bit this year, and Rob Freeman. They may want to make a change at some point. We'll see how Holland does. 2nd and 15 now after the false start. He has time, and he throws it away, and it's intercepted there by Hughes, and he smells the end zone. He takes it in for the score. Damian Hughes.
A play of opportunity back there by Dante. Actually, he goes by his middle name, Dante Hughes. Rated by many as the #1 corner in the country. They like him here on the Bears. He's been very consistent.
That's his 10th career interception. He had a couple last week against Minnesota.
Howland looking to throw the hook. His receiver came straight back down his stem rather than coming in around the defense. Damian Hughes just sitting back there waiting for that ball to stick him in the chest.
Dante's Inferno. Dante's on fire.
On fire.
What a couple of games here with 3 interceptions now in back-to-back games. Now here's Schneider again with a point after, as this one is getting out of hand very quickly, as Cal has already scored 3 touchdowns, and we still have a little bit of time here in the opening quarter. 2.5 minutes to play as they pick up a defensive touchdown of a 25-yard interception return by Dante Hughes.
And that's just Christmas come early right there. It's nice as a corner if you can sit back in zone and have a quarterback throw you the ball. So young quarterback making young quarterback mistakes. But he threw the ball hard.
He did. A little too hard. And that's his 2nd career touchdown. Hughes had a 41-yarder for a score last year at Washington. We mentioned he had a pair of interceptions last week in the win against Minnesota. Mike, his 2nd time he's had 2 in a single game. And the second one he made was a real tough interception.
Well, turnovers, a great part of the game for defense. Nice catch right by the line there, going down for the ball. And then the diving catch coming back. That's how you play the position. Great instincts. Maybe not a 4-3 guy, but with the speed he has incredible instincts to get to the ball. And 1 eye patch. How about that?
Gotta love that.
Apparently, the light is only bright on that left cheek. You see, it's not as bright coming off the right cheek, so you wear the left eye patch.
What, does he wink when he plays all day? How does he do that?
It's a pirate look.
Colonel Klink.
It's like a scar, but it doesn't hurt as much.
We've seen this act before. Snyder will kick off again, as it's already 21-3. Kale bouncing back from the early INT. And this one will actually skip out of bounds.
You know, Snyder hooking the ball to the left. That last kickoff, he hooked it a little bit to the left, came off his foot wrong, but it got it into the end zone. This one obviously came off the inside of his foot again and gets the penalty.
Well, Marshawn Lynch, again, a little bit of an ankle problem, but he's not getting enough work to his satisfaction here. He wants to stay loose.
Yeah, a lot of guys like to stay warm on the sideline. I think he's got a workout video playing in front of him. It's that Jane Fonda workout on the sideline.
Perpetual motion.
Exactly.
So Portland State will take it from their 35-yard line following the kickoff out of bounds by Schneider. We'll see if Holland can settle down a little bit. This is one of 3 Division 1A schools that Portland State will play. They're also going to play Oregon coming up in late October, their intrastate rival. And that ball was deflected away, tried to force that into Kirkland there, and he threw into double coverage.
Well, one of the great players for this Portland State team is Brennan Carvalho. He is playing that guard position in here. You can see him. He is physically strong. The thing that's so great about him, stop it right here. Watch him turn this player this direction. He has such core strength. He just tips guys. He will pick them up and just lift guys and get them off balance. That's what great offensive linemen do. If you have that kind of strength, you can be incredible at those inside positions.
That was Mika Kane who we just pushed aside. And breaking into the secondary now is Bobby McClintock, the fullback. Sidquan Thompson on the tackle of McClintock, who breaks free. Redshirt freshman going for 16 yards.
Good fullback. They say he can be one of the best this program has ever seen. And you and I talked about it before the game. I love their media guide for Portland State because they'll give you the dirt on their players. From McClintock, they say, great player, has incredible potential, needs to learn to play with his eyes, see what's in front of him.
Brutally honest stuff.
Brutally honest.
Who's writing this media guide? Under 2 minutes to play in the quarter. There's up 21-3. Holland on the handoff, and slanting in there's Brandon Hampton, the rover back. Makes a nice tackle in the backfield on Ho'okano.
You know, we hear so much about Jeff Tedford and the offensive side of this team. Take a look at this. Bob Gregory, great instincts as D coordinator. Watch the blitz coming off the top. That is a rover blitz, secondary blitz. Portland State not ready for it. All the blue Cal jerseys. Defensive pressure, secondary pressure. Great play call out of that 4-4 defense. Attack, attack, attack. That's how Gregory likes to run it. Hampton
coming from one side, the junior rover back out of Westchester High School in L.A., and Mickey Pimentel, strong side linebacker, also coming from the other side. Well, the word is to blitz a young quarterback, and they're going after him on 2nd and 9. Front 4, a good push there. He's able to get off the tackle. Then he gets popped again. Pimentel comes up and really pops Howland.
One quarterback down. You don't want your second guy going in there taking those big shots. You didn't just have Pimentel there, and look, here's the second guy hurting. You also had Norris Malele out there. Watch this.
He breaks
being
the
pursued.
tackle.
Oh, and the shot.
Wow.
That's got to hurt.
He tried to come off the field, and he got to the hash mark, and then he went down as he has a left leg injury of some kind. So they've already lost their starting quarterback, Sawyer Smith, and now their backup, Tag Howland, is down. And next in line would be Rob Freeman.
And I got duped by the double numbers there. That was actually Greg Van Hoosen, so a linebacker for the Bears. There are 2 Maleles. One plays offensive line, one plays D-line. And here we are down to QB number 3.
Although he has played this year, a junior quarterback from Westview High School up in Portland, a JC transfer from Butte Junior College. He's 3 for 3 this year for 35 yards. Holland had not played before.
If it's not the first game, you don't want to see numbers like 3 for 3 in the guy who's going to be taking snaps for you under center. You'd like to see a little more experience, especially coming in to a school like Cal with a great defense, if unheralded, but great and aggressive. And you see, when the Bears bring pressure, that's when their defense is at its best, just to attack.
Although 3 for 3 is better than 1 for 3, which are the numbers for Holland as he limps off. And coming into the game today, he had no stats. He had not played before. So he is limping off as this pressure defense of Bob Gregory putting some heat. They've already knocked out one quarterback, a second quarterback, and now they'll set their sights on Freeman.
And it's just good physical play. It's not like they're doing anything cheap. They are just coming up and hitting people right now. This defense actively, aggressively pursuing the quarterback.
Kane got pushed aside a moment ago by the powerful Carvalho. But they're pushing back, obviously. 30 seconds to play in this painful opening quarter for Portland State. Here's Rob Freeman, the third Viking quarterback of the game. They're going to roll him out. And he's got a man open. It's deflected nicely there by Pimentel. Boy, what a series for Pimentel.
Having a game, huh?
Wow.
Nice play. I thought he had him all the way. Brendan Ferrigno out there in the flat and running a nice route. You see, there's Ferrigno, open hole, but Pimentel, great pivot, great. That's tough with your hips like that, to get your hips turned back when you're moving one direction. He just pivots back out and gets his hand up there. Great play by a safety type.
So we've seen him come off the edge, knock a quarterback out, and then in the third straight play drop into coverage and play it very nicely. The Leavers will punt for Portland State. I think they're happy just to get back on defense. A lot of pressure from the Bears.
And this could be ugly.
There's Jackson with some room to go. Retreating, though, and he'll be tackled back inside the 10-yard line. Condrew Allen got in there and made the tackle on special teams for Portland State. 39-yard punt by Leavers.
That was a big play, saving tackle by Allen, because Jackson had his return set up if he could get back to it. So great physical effort and good speed by Allen. Remember, we said earlier, Jackson, 4.3 40 type guy. That's good pursuit.
There goes Longshore in the Bear offensive attack. One thing Mike Dunbar, and we'll keep track of this throughout the game, talked about was a lot of the sloppy mistakes that California made in Tennessee. They did not make against Minnesota, something we've dubbed the Dunbar dozen.
Yes.
And we'll come back and talk about that. Actually, they made a very bad mistake on the third play of the game as Longshore threw an interception, but Cal came back with their punishing defense. They knocked out a couple of quarterbacks, and the combination of Lynch and Forsett and that defense and the receiving corps just too much for Portland State.
49ers
football gridiron up 21-3, but they are thriving in a lot of sports here in Berkeley, including women's volleyball. For more on that, let's head downstairs to Scott Marsh.
All right, Greg, thank you. I'm here with the head volleyball coach, Rich Feller, whose Cal team is off to a terrific start. 10-0 to start the year. You guys are on fire right now, Rich.
We're playing really, really well. The team is mature, and they're playing like a unit. It's been a good ride so far.
4 straight NC2A tournament appearances. I know you're hoping for number 5. And really, Angie Pressey, one of the key players on your team. Of course, she's the daughter of Paul Pressey, the great NBA player, and also dating Justin Forsett from the football team.
Oh, she's going to get mad at me now. Yeah, she's doing amazing things. She's a junior this year, showing a lot of maturity, taking a lot of leadership, and just is a fun athlete to watch play.
You guys have a big game tonight. Yale at 7 o'clock at home.
Absolutely. We got the Yale Bulldogs coming in on a West Coast swing right after the football game. We're hoping to get a good crowd there and extend our streak a little bit.
Well, best of luck tonight and good luck during the Pac-10 play.
Thank you very much.
All right, back to you, Greg.
All right, Scott, thank you. And I'm impressed with the leaping ability of Paul Pressey's daughter. Paul could never jump like that during his NBA career, though he was a great defender, but he always had both feet on the ground.
Like to stay close to the floor.
That's where he ran the team. Paul Pressey, hard to believe he's got a daughter.
How about Scott
old enough to play college?
Digging up the dirt about who's dating who.
He's got it all down,
soap opera.
Here's Longshore now.
Angie's boyfriend getting tackled on that last play.
He got popped. Justin Forsett. 3rd down and 10 coming up for Longshore. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and a back to Longshore's side out of the shotgun. And open is Forsett. And he's got a first down. If the ground caused the fumble, they'll pick it up. I think the ground caused the fumble. He's down at the 23-yard line.
Well, that's exactly what this spread offense does to you, is it spreads people out. You see the box? This is considered the box right here. There's 6 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the box. They have to spread out with this Cal offense. Now, in the secondary, you have to cover all those blue shirts. Look at them all running downfield. You have to get depth. Can't let them get deeper. Opens up this underneath area. Forsett sits in a hole, grabs the ball, and runs upfield. Well-designed play, but that spread offense moves people out.
And Longshore clearly is getting more and more comfortable in this offense. Now they go to a 2-back, 2-receiver, 1 tight end set. Marshawn Lynch gets a nice block to turn the corner. Thrown by the wide receiver, Lavelle Hawkins. Adam Hayward on the tackle for Portland State.
Actually, a Portland State player down the sideline there got in contact with Lynch. I believe that's Hayward.
Yeah, the guy who made the tackle. Well, you just got to be impressed with the diversity
that's Dixon.
of this Cal offense, Mike, as Dixon is still down. And he's their best cover corner. Dominic Dixon, the senior from O'Day High School up in Seattle. 2nd and 3 for the Bears, up 21-3. Lynch breaks one tackle and picks up the first down, and now he wants more. Hawkins out to block. He gets one block. He may go. Breaks that tackle, and now he's gone. Marshawn Lynch, 71 yards.
The thing is, he brings his own blocks. He doesn't always need the block. He will just throw people off him. You cannot ever quit playing on defense versus Marshawn Lynch. This guy just stays on his feet. He's like a weeble wobble. You can't knock him down. Look at this. He hits the pile. Everybody's in there wrapped up on him. Oh, he's down, right? Everybody stop. Oh, wait a second. He's still running. And on top of it, he's got 4.4 speed, so you're not going to catch him downfield. Watch this. Get off me. I'm heading to the end zone. You got nothing to say about it. And it's just a coast from there. Hey, what an amazing tailback.
He is impressive.
I mean, he's as good as they come in the country today.
Well, he's had some great touchdown runs throughout his career, but that actually is his longest run. He had a 70-yarder his freshman year and a 52-yarder last year. This one, a 71-yard touchdown drive. Remember, this drive began back on the 7-yard line, so that was a 93-yard touchdown drive. Adam Durst here in Berkeley, where he's always at to watch the Bears play, enjoying Marshawn Lynch on an incredible touchdown run.
Adam, a huge Cal fan, went to school here in Berkeley, lived locally, and watched this run. Just a front side, zone play, good block and pick up 4 or 5 yards. All the white shirts, hey, let's stop. Oh, wait a second. He's back out of the pile. Just running past people. You know, you wouldn't know that he's as fast as he is unless you'd seen him on the clock. He has a very wide base. Look at those legs. I mean, not quite Earl Campbell, but they're pretty stout. Incredibly strong, big back. He doesn't look 4'4", but he is.
And that was a nice block by Lavelle Hawkins. He put his man on the ground as Marshawn can break tackles, but it's nice when he gets blocking like that, especially from the wide receivers, and that's something that we talked to Mike Dunbar about yesterday, the Cal offensive coordinator. He wants those wide receivers to get downfield and block.
Well, they've got to be physical to support your running game. There you see Zach Follett coming down on this kick cover team. Portland State just made a huge hit. Watch it right here. Both guys just buckling knees. That's how you return the ball, and that's how you work the double team. Nicely
done by Follett. Follett's the young man that missed the block in Knoxville on a similar play that Lynch broke the long touchdown run where you thought he was down. And then 71 yards later, it's 28-3. They run the end around here to Kirkland, trying to get their most talented offensive player the ball. He got hit. No flag in as he was hit just slightly out of bounds by Thomas DeCoux, a free safety and a first-year starter from Pinole Valley High School.
Problem with those little guys, the wide receivers, when you get them the ball, they like to run east to west. That's side to side. He needed to turn that ball up. He'd have gotten 6 yards. He'd have gotten hit, but he'd have gotten down and gotten a big gain. Instead, runs to the sideline, only picks up a couple.
I think it's time to get the ball to Brendan Farino, don't you?
I think so.
They're not throwing the ball to Farino yet. Wide receiver in the slot in the right side, inside of Kirkland. They get a hand off to the fullback, and McClintock will push out for a few before he's tackled there by Van Hoosen.
Nice run by the big back. Just kept those big legs driving inside, pushing the pile. That's what you look for in your fullback.
And there is Brendan Farino, and of course his dad is the Cal wide receiver coach. And boy, he's off to a great start. He had a huge game last week in the win over Northern Colorado, 125 yards receiving. He was over 200 yards on the year. And there's about 100 Farinos around Memorial Stadium today. Got about 60 cousins here to watch him play. Going to the option. This is the wide receiver, Kirkland, with the ball. He was an all-city quarterback at Hiram Johnson High School up in Sacramento, and he played a little quarterback at UNLV. Anthony Felder on the tackle. That's a question of the Vikings just trying to get the ball into their most talented players, saying any way they can.
You've got to get it to your athletes. However you do it, get it to your athletes. Let them make the plays. That's why they earn their scholarship, right? You pay for their food because they can work, and they make great plays on the field.
There is Dad.
Danny Ferrigno. This guy is so charismatic, and he has such a personality about him. And you watch his son move on the field, and he moves just like him. That's actually Danny's 3rd stint here at Cal.
He was a pretty good player in his own right, inducted in the San Francisco Prep Hall of Fame, a great player at Reardon High School. Deshaun Jackson, if he could have stayed up there, he may have gone a lot further there, as the Bears just have too many weapons. Condrew Allen, who tackled Jackson on the last punt return, Mike, gets him down again. 42-yard punt by Levers and a 12-yard exciting return by Jackson.
You know, we talked to Jeff yesterday about the new ready for play rule in college football. You see this huddle. This is on the sideline. When you're coaching, most teams want to huddle on the sideline before they come out. You ready to play rule, clock starts rolling. If your guys are on special teams, they also want you off the sideline in 3 seconds once they blow that ball ready for play. So you can't get guys back to the huddle and back out on the field. Real headaches for coaches these days.
I don't think there's a coach in America that likes the ready-to-play rule.
I haven't heard
You
one.
don't like it much yourself, do
I don't
you?
like it, no. There are better ways to get more snaps in a game and speed it up.
And it's taking snaps away. Jordan open, and he's able to come down with the catch inbounds at the Portland State 46-yard line. Nice catch by Robert Jordan.
Great catch by Robert Jordan. Stretched out there. Had to leave that right foot on the ground because if he picks it up, puts the next one down, he's out. Right there, gets it in.
He got them both in. He dragged the back one to make sure. Longshore, remember, the 3rd play from scrimmage, his first pass was intercepted. You have to like what Longshore has done since. And the Bears up 28-3. Lynch a couple of touchdowns. Forsett a touchdown. Here's the inside handoff to Forsett. He's still not done. A flag comes in. Flag came in and they were trying to wrap him up. DJ Robinson, the middle linebacker for Portland State, on the tackle. I thought it was a face mask because the flag came right around the time he was being tackled by DJ.
Well, Alex Mack, the center, was also mixed up in that pile. A lot of discussion here.
I know DJ Robinson, a guy you've been watching on film, you've been impressed with. Pretty good player.
DJ Robinson, very instinctive player. He can.
Incidental face mask, number 52 of the defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Very instinctive player. He's quick. He reads very well at that position. They say sometimes his instincts are too aggressive.
Who says that?
Take him out. The press guy.
One
more time.
Who's writing this press guy?
I don't know, but I love it.
Sounds like a coach got a hold of that press guy, didn't he?
Well, I was the head coach. Coach Walsh putting it in there, telling the dirt on all of his guys. And I think he uses that as a motivator to help these guys work on their flaws.
Tim Walsh, 85 and 64 in his 14th year at Portland State. There's a little play action to Forsett. Longshore gets out of the pocket. A jump pass. He had Jordan open, but he got turned around a bit, and he overthrew it.
Quite possibly one of the ugliest jump passes I've ever seen. That looked nasty, didn't it?
Didn't go so well.
Had plenty of time in the pocket.
And he could have run for about 10 or 15 yards.
Yeah.
It was all there for him.
Watch this.
Jordan's open.
Oh. Well, that's a tough throw. You know, as a quarterback, you never want to run to your right and throw back across your body, especially like that.
Now, does that make Dunbar's dozen? We were talking earlier, talking to Mike Dunbar, the new offensive coordinator here at Cal. He has an interesting way to look at his offense. He picks out things he does not want to see his offense do: sacks, drops, interceptions, lost fumbles, and penalties. And if he has less than 12% of those on all offensive plays, his team, he thinks he's going to win 90% of the time. Now, that wasn't a drop, obviously, but that was a pass that should have been completed.
Well, it was a silly pass.
Is there a category for that?
I don't think there is a silly pass category. I don't think it'll fit in, but they will laugh about it and replay it about 15 times in the film room. So,
and look at all the plays that Mike Dunbar and Jeff Tedford have for Longshore. He actually has to flip the wristband up, and he's got more underneath there.
Yeah, Coach Tedford is known for going into the game with a bunch of plays. They can actually fit 150 plays on that wristband. Today they only came with 130.
Is that all they need?
Yeah.
The ones they run are working fine. 3rd and 2. Jackson's got this one. He went backwards, and he's actually retreated, and now it's debatable whether or not he got the first down. A flag comes in way after the play was over. We'll see if that's on Portland State. Well, that was something that Coach Tedford was not happy with in the Minnesota game, where his wide receivers would actually retreat. And that time, it looked like the first down was already obtained by Jordan. He went backwards.
Well, he had it when he caught it.
And it's against Cal.
So Jordan had, so it really doesn't matter either way, but Jordan had the first down.
But he was trying to make the big play there. On a third down, he had the first down. He was trying to pick up that block and make it a big play, and he actually went backwards.
Well, if they rule it a personal foul after the ball is down and they attain the first down, they'll actually still get the first down, but they got penalized.
Yes. After the play,
so
personal foul, number 51 on the offense. That penalty will be enforced from the end of the run.
Right.
If it is a first down by yardage, it will be first down and 10.
Well, they're going to measure.
Otherwise, fourth down and 15.
Didn't I just say that?
You just said that, but you're not in charge. You know.
So here's your first down marker. Right about here is where he's got to get out to.
You got to draw a straighter line than
that. That's a horrible line, isn't it? And he runs back, and he got down. First down marker is about on that line as it moves for me. It looks like he's pretty close, so.
It is a first down.
He got the first down.
He just got it by the nose of the football. You wouldn't know by the lines that Mike scribbled all over the screen.
Did you notice that art wasn't my major here at Cal?
Etch-a-sketch? Let me have that thing.
I'm abstract. I like the abstract feel. I want you to figure out what I'm drawing.
Now, Tim Walsh trying to figure out how they got a first down out of that. And I don't think either coach is happy because, again, Tedford's got to be unhappy with the retreat on the catch by Robert Jordan. He just got the first down by the nose of the ball. So they lose the yardage from there. It's 1st and 10 for Cal back on their 49-yard line.
And they're coming.
They're blitzing. And Cal picks it up long enough for a pass over the middle. No flag in. A lot of pushing there by Michael Dorsey. The safety climbed over the back, but no flag.
I think the official defensive technique name for that is the bear hug. Because literally, he was all over Moore's back.
Cameron Moore, a touchdown.
But you know, those tight ends have to be physical enough to get in there, mix it up with the strong safeties and the linebackers. And good presence there by Dorsey. Again, we saw Portland State bringing pressure. You have to stay home. That was a hot route, and Dorsey in perfect position to defend it.
2nd and 10. Cal up 28-3 early in the second quarter here. Here's their spread formation. O'Keefe is in, the running back. Longshore, catch, first down, Jackson at the Portland State 40-yard line. Tackled by Odell Jackson, who they've been working on today.
Now, I wasn't in the huddle, but I believe that was an adjusted route on the outside. That was supposed to be vertical routes. He didn't have him beat. Watch him. He's going to come down and idle a little bit, see his quarterback's in trouble, and turn around and come back to the ball. I believe he reads this route. He gets the outside. His man's on top. No, I'm going to come back. Good ball by Longshore. Nice route on the outside by Jordan.
Jordan already 3 catches for 46 yards, had 6 for 80 yards in a score coming into the game. Play action, Longshore. A little low going down the seam that time as again he's looking for Robert Jordan. He's been throwing a lot of balls Jordan's way today.
Well, Jordan's been a standout since he was a true freshman here and very comfortable with Nate Longshore. They came in together. They've been throwing together. You know, when a quarterback throws a ball sometimes like that, you think, what's this guy doing? That's a mental lapse. That's I've got a guy, I don't see him, and you hold the ball for too long, squeeze it, and it ends up into the turf. He didn't make a proper read and caught it at the very end.
Mike Dunbar calls the play. It's all done on a numerical system. It'll give him a number, and then he reads the number off the play sheet on the wristband. Little bubble screen here to Hawkins. Gets a block down the sideline. He's got the Cal first down out of the Portland State 26-yard line. Michael Dorsey, the safety, over to make the tackle on the junior from Stockton Edison High School, Lavelle Hawkins.
Hawkins, a nice player. He and Deshaun Jackson actually came into the program in the same year. Gave him a 1-2 punch on that outside. See Longshore, just a little giveaway fake, and then a screen to the outside. Quick pop. You got receivers blocking downfield, which is legal because the ball thrown behind the line of scrimmage.
1st and 10 for Cal. Again, moving well. This drive started back on their 43-yard line. And a timeout has been called by the Bears. First timeout the Bears have called here in the first half comes with 8:48 to play.
And we saw Longshore out there trying to square things off. Look at that face on Tedford. I love watching him during the games. He is so intense.
Very impressive. We'll meet this guy in person. He is an impressive guy, and his record certainly backs that up. fabulous day for college football right after our Portland State-Cal game. We'll take you to the UC Davis Aggies. They'll be taking on the Bobcats of Montana State, so stick around for that coming up. It's Davis at Montana State on Comcast Sportsnet. An incredible day for college football, and hopefully Sawyer Smith will be able to get back out here and play at some point. Sawyer Smith was taken off the field on a cart earlier in the game after a vicious hit. He's the starting quarterback for Portland State. Here's Nate Longshore on a 1st and 10. Little shovel inside. O'Keefe able to spin forward, and he's dropped on the 21-yard line. If you're just joining us, we'll show you the hit here, as this was a violent hit. A clean hit, though, from Nuhu Tafisi, Mike, but he gets a pop on the quarterback.
Well, that's exactly what you're supposed to do as a defensive lineman. Come out there and whack the quarterback, and Sawyer Smith ends up falling flat on his back. And there's nothing, well, the only thing that would make that worse is if you had the defensive lineman's helmet in your chest at the time you made contact with the turf. So
and there's Tafisi, who has had a good game overall. And later in the game, his backup, Ty Howland got knocked out of the game. They had to go to a third quarterback in Rob Freeman. Meanwhile, this is the third Cal running back to run right through their defense. Dominic Dixon, who was dinged up earlier, their best cover corner, in to make the tackle on Marcus O'Keefe, the senior, as he breaks loose there in the secondary for a 12-yard run.
And just a great front side play. You see all those blue jerseys moving people off the line. O'Keefe making a nice cut up field, getting the extra yards. And again, he would be playing in a lot of programs as a number 1 or 2 back, but with Marshawn Lynch here, Justin Forsett, he ends up being the third back in this system.
Marcus already has his degree in social welfare, but he wants to stick around here and get in the end zone on this play. Cuts back inside. They'll drop him shy of the 5-yard line.
And, you know, it's an opportunity to give Marshawn Lynch a little bit of rest. We said he had a little bit of a gimpy ankle. It's an opportunity to get Marcus O'Keefe, who has been a great team player here, playing on every special team, get him some reps. So a nice opportunity here for Cal to get some players to look.
And there's Lynch and the boys, Pimentel enjoying it over on the Cal sideline. Of course, next week it'll go up a notch as Cal gets into Pac-10 play, as they'll host Arizona State, themselves off to a 2-0 start this year. 2nd and goal for the Bears from the Portland State 7. Hawkins moving in motion. Longshore going to roll right. And it's a little contact there. 2 flags come in. Michael Dorsey with the clear interference there.
A little counter-action pass for Longshore getting out of the backfield. Dorsey jumping that flat route underneath. A little bit too early. Remember, we saw him coming early before. Here's your flat route. That's your man right there coming through. Dorsey sees him, says, I'm going to make sure I get there before the ball does. At least make the tackle. Don't let him make the catch.
Clever play. Well designed. Boy, the Cal Bears have 2 of the brilliant offensive minds in college football coming together, with Jeff Tedford in the offseason going out and hiring in Mike Dunbar from Northwestern.
And I think it's a great point. You say brilliant play. Well, the counter pass has been around for years and years and years. You get a different look. Now you've got a receiver out there, you're running it out of the spread, you know, you have all the fast guys on the field, you find another way to use the same counter-action pass and give it a completely different look.
Now they go to a double tight end, 2 back, single wide receiver formation. They'll try to power it in. O'Keefe off the left side will go in for a touchdown.
What a great cut by Marcus O'Keefe.
O'Keefe in from 5 yards out. The Bears have their 5th touchdown of the first half and lead 34, going on 35-3.
The key to being a good running back is having good vision. You have to see what your line is doing in front of you and be able to react to it. Marcus O'Keefe in that play, great reaction to cut that ball inside and reach the end zone.
Well, the Bears already have their scoring average under head coach Jeff Tedford. And now they pushed past it a little bit. This is right around the figure they score for an entire game. They've already got in the first half. They averaged 34.4 a game coming in. And they've got 5 touchdowns and a 35-3 lead. Another rushing touchdown, this one from Marcus O'Keefe. Night football continues next week with an exciting rivalry game in the Sacramento area again. Del Oro High School. The Golden Eagles will host Nevada Union, the Miners. It'll be prep football from the state capitol next Friday night at 7:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Greg Pop alongside the former Bear quarterbacking star Mike Pawlowski, who worked the Valley Christian Grant game last night up in Sacramento. Scott Marsh is downstairs with an update on the injured quarterbacking duo for the Vikings, Scott.
All right, Greg. Yeah, adding the injury to insult right now, their quarterback, Sawyer Smith, he came back in after being carted out. They took x-rays. They were negative, but he will not return today. So the number 1 quarterback is out, and also Ty Holland is out as well with a left knee sprain. So it'll be number 3 quarterback all day long for Portland State. Back up to you, Greg.
The adventures of Sawyer Smith. Just good to see him up and walking around on the sideline, Mike, is the first thing. And he got popped, and he is able to move around, so that bodes well for future games. So they turn to their 3rd-string quarterback, the junior, Rob Freeman.
Well, nice to see Smith up and still in his pads. So often if it's really serious, they'll take guys out of their pads, get them in street clothes. But they're going to want to save him for conference play anyway.
And they've got Weber State coming up next week on the road. They've already played one conference game in the Big Sky. They beat Northern Colorado last week. Pimentel with a nice tackle there. Boy, he's been all over the field.
He is really showing up on the defensive side of the ball this year, even versus Tennessee, where the Bears weren't great. Pimentel all over the field, making plays, really filling in that role, that linebacker position.
Last year he also played, we found out after the year was over, he played with a torn labrum and a dislocated shoulder, and still had a very solid year overall, and he's been flying around. Very impressive, whether he's attacking or dropping back and playing the pass. Mickey Pimentel playing a lot at strong side linebacker. Cano is now in as the featured back for Portland State. He had the last carry. And here he comes again off the left side. And not a lot there as he is pushed back. Ezef in on the tackle, Marcus Ezef.
Well, we talked a little bit about Mickey Pimentel. Here he is making plays on the outside. Big hit on the quarterback. Reacting up as a linebacker. Then he comes back in pass coverage. Reverses his hips. Gets a big tip. Almost an interception. He's just been all over the field today for this Cal defense. And again, you talk about him having a torn labrum and a bad shoulder. You know how painful that is? And as a defensive guy trying to make tackles and hit with your shoulder, that's suffering through some pain while you're playing.
Well, he's got one knockout today. Tafisi's got the other on the quarterback. And here's breaking into the secondary is Soho Kano with an angle. He will be dragged down from behind, though, at midfield. Randy Bundy got in there, backup cornerback to Sid Thompson. Ocano does not have the breakaway speed to take it the whole way, more of a power guy, but he broke into the secondary for a nice run there.
And Randy Bundy does actually have the breakaway speed at that corner position. Extremely fast player back there for the Bears. Has played both receiver and DB on this side. Nice play, though, by Portland State, getting him free through that first level of defenders.
And Bundy able to track him down out of Northridge, California, go over Cleveland High School. Kano playing, of course, for the injured Momar Ali, the New Mexico State transfer, who was supposed to be the featured back. And there's Kirkland. He's a quarterback. He will throw. Pretty well covered down there. A lot of banging around. The touchdown for Ferrigno. Nice catch. He took it away from Ezef. Well, he threw it up for grabs there. Pretty well covered, but Ferrigno comes down with the score. And what's his dad doing over on the Cal sideline?
What a great play by a gutty little receiver.
A nice mid-flight adjustment to go up and steal that ball.
Just going to see the reverse here, and you can notice when he doesn't go downhill, when he flattens, that's when you know it's going to be a pass. Ferrigno, just man on the outside, comes back for the ball. That's where the receiver has the advantage. So look, he stays flat, going to throw it. Ferrigno playing the ball in the air, great catch.
Ezef was not fooled on that play. He was back and in coverage the whole way, but Ferrigno just jumped up and took it away for him for a 42-yard touchdown.
And we talked to Coach Tedford yesterday, and I asked him clearly, and I said, Danny Ferrigno's kid is going to catch a ball. Brennan's a good receiver. He's going to catch a pass. You're going to look over and see Danny smiling, and what are you going to do? He said, hey, it's his kid. You got to let him smile, proud papa, but he better not be jumping up and down. And got dead stone silent in the room.
What a great open field runner he is, Brendan Ferrigno. That's an 80-yard touchdown drive, and he scores the touchdown, his third of the year, and it was Sidquan Thompson who was beaten on that play. Ezef came over later, but it was Sidquan, of course, playing for the injured Tim Mixon, who could not come down with the ball after playing it pretty well.
But he was in perfect position.
Yeah.
He was right there. The receiver always has the advantage on the underthrown deep ball because they're looking back for the ball. A defender always trying to stay in position to make the play. Problem is you can only react to what the receiver does. If you turn around and look for the ball, now you lose the receiver. If you keep looking at the receiver, you never find the ball. So it's really a catch-22 out there playing that defensive back spot.
So Thompson was playing with a cast on his left hand the first game in Knoxville after breaking a wrist and needing surgery. Took it off last week and did not need it for that play. There's Marcus O'Keefe again. Now, Keith was forced earlier to change numbers and run back with number 8. He's not doing that today, as Hicks apparently is not in on the special teams.
Well, it's going to depend on which special team that he's going in on. If he's on one with Hicks, then he's going to end up having to switch over to 80.
So Hicks has not been in on kickoff return.
On return, he's not. But on punt, he's going to change. On punt cover, all the different teams that he's in for, he may be switching in and out of jerseys all day.
So Kirkland, the former All-City quarterback and a quarterback at times in Nevada, Las Vegas, throws a touchdown. Then they want to put him under center. They've lost their first two quarterbacks. Kirkland may be their best quarterback.
Well, it's a lot easier without Tafisi or Pimentel coming out there to hit you in the jaw.
Now here's Longshore. And Deshaun Jackson with the short gain up to around the 30-yard line. Stanley Jackson on the tackle for Portland State as the Bears lose Scott Smith, the right tackle. He goes limping off the field, hopping off the field.
Actually hopping off the field. Not a good sign for that offensive line. Andrew Cameron already down with an ankle. Scott Smith now hopping off the field.
So Mike Gibson will come in, the junior out of Napa, California. Gibson will take over at right tackle. So right now the Bears are playing with their second string tackles. Tepper at left tackle for Cameron. And Smith is out. Gibson is in. There's the inside handoff out of the shotgun. Forsett tripped up. He may have gone the distance down the sideline. He had a couple of blockers out in front.
And Justin Forsett saying, hey, Marshawn's not the only one that can run out of a pile. I may be small, but I'm strong too. That's not a good look for an offensive lineman.
Well, he got to play a lot last year left tackle, you know, obviously with the injury to Andrew Cameron. And he's over on the sideline as well.
Well, did a nice job last year filling in both for Cameron and O'Callahan, who was injured for a couple games last year.
Oh, he got popped Longshore. Throws low and no catch. Too low to Craig Stevens, the tight end. Longshore got nailed by the blitzing Stanley Jackson, the cornerback.
Yeah, the thing about it, as a quarterback, Nate Longshore, 230 pounds. He may get whacked, but he's pretty strong, and he's going to be able to take it. Almost delivered that pass, so pretty good play by Nate Longshore there.
Pretty good numbers for Nate, 12 and 19 for $153. He had the brilliant game last Saturday against Minnesota, 22 of 31 for 300 yards, even 4 first half touchdowns. O'Keefe. And he comes up just shy on a 2nd and 10. It'll be 3rd down and a yard or 2. And they're using a lot of O'Keefe here in the first half and Forsett. Just a cameo for Marshawn Lynch, who had the long 71-yard touchdown run. Cal with a tremendous three-headed ground game led by Lynch and Forsett and O'Keefe. Now they've rushed for 155 yards already.
There's Lynch wearing a towel over on the sideline, trying to keep the sun off him.
3 minutes to go in the half. 3rd down and 2. Forsett going backwards, breaks one tackle and lost the ball at the end. I think the ground caused the fumble. Portland State diving on it, and they're going to give Portland State the ball.
Yeah, they're marking it. They're going to have to look at that replay.
This will be under review.
I think he was down. Plus, I think he hit that ball, the elbow on the ground to kick it out.
Watching it live, it looked like the ground clearly caused the fumble, and Cal should get the ball back in time to punt it away.
There's nothing that Jeff Tedford hates more than putting the ball on the ground. See Forsett trying to dance back.
Is he down?
I didn't know if the knee was down. The elbow never hit, but the ball hit.
Let's see. Knee down there?
Knee down there, and then the ball hitting the ground. Tedford now the replay rule, to review it, to make a challenge, the coach has to call a timeout. Once he calls a timeout, he can ask for the challenge. If the challenge shows conclusive evidence that it wasn't a fumble, then Cal will get their timeout back. Not that they need it at this point in the game, but they'll get their timeout back and retain possession of the ball.
And based on what we saw a moment ago, you'd have to think that this will be overturned. Here's the play after the fumble and the recovery by Aaron Dixon, a defensive back who got it and jumped on the ball. Watch his right knee. Right there. Looks to me like it's down before.
Well, right there is the left knee, and that looks like it's down. And then coming out, the ball hitting the ground.
I think they both went down. I think his right knee hit down, and his left knee clearly went down as he was scrambling. And then the ball came down when he brought his arm to the ground. Well, this should be overturned, but you never can tell. They have to have indisputable visual evidence, because the call on the field was that it was a fumble. They'd have to overturn this.
Exactly. Now, wouldn't you love to be on the headsets listening to what the officials are saying right now? I know I don't want to be on the headsets listening to what Coach Tedford's saying.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. There was no conclusive evidence that the ball carrier was down before losing possession of the ball.
Now, I can see that point, because there's not a clear look. You certainly think that his knee hit down, but there's no replay that we showed that showed that the knee was clearly down, although it did look that way live, and it just wasn't backed up by videotape. So in any event, Forsett trying to scramble as he was hit behind the line and then retreated, trying to make the big play, and he wound up fumbling it away. So Cal, well, this is not going to make Mike Dunbar happy. Another one of his Dunbar dozen showing up.
Just added a notch.
It's their second turnover. Longshore, the early interception thrown to Dorsey, and now the fumble by Forsett. Let's see if Portland State can do something here late in the half. 35-9 is the score as they missed that extra point. There's the quarterback Freeman going for a big ball. Wide open man down the middle is the fullback McClintock. And he is tackled inside the 10-yard line. Bernard Hicks saves the touchdown.
Nice read by Freeman. Nice delivery on that ball. Actually had to loop it over the top to put it in there for McClintock. Good job by a third quarterback. Portland State coming back with their own bunch package. Good touch on that ball.
Right down the middle. And who's in the middle linebacker did not drop back, and he hit him right between the safeties. Bernard Hicks saves the touchdown. First and goal for Portland State with 2:15 to play in the half from the Bear 9-yard line. Now look at this formation with the receivers all lined up.
This is like the Mississippi stack +1.
I like this.
Well, Portland State has always been unique offensively.
Wide receiver screen. Matkins breaks one tackle, and he's taken down at the 4-yard line. Mouse Davis and June Jones and Neil Lomax.
That's right. With the history of the run and shoot and the crazy offenses out there, Portland State lives on offense.
Let it go. I mean, that's how I remember Mouse Davis in the mid-70s. The head coach there, June Jones, as quarterback. And then later on, it was Neil Lomax who broke all the records, throwing for over 13,000 yards at Portland State.
Well, it's an incredible offense, especially at that level. You have to be able to cover, and you see Coach Walsh look for timeout.
He wants a timeout, I think, and the linesman will give him a timeout here with 1 minute and 23 seconds to play. We have 1:22 to play in this first half. Well, you got to be impressed with Portland State. They're a gutsy bunch after all the adversity they've had. Their starting quarterback knocked out, their backup quarterback knocked out, and they've been hit big for 4 offensive touchdowns, and Dante Hughes a pick returned for a score, a pick 6, but they're battling here late in the first half.
Well, your third quarterback isn't supposed to be able to make plays like Freeman's making right now.
Well, you Cal fans, stay with us here on Comcast Sportsnet. We've got you covered every Thursday. Get the latest from Coach Tedford and a preview of Cal's upcoming competition, the Cal Sports Report. That's Thursday nights at 7 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. We've got you covered. We are going to talk coming up at halftime to the AD here at Cal, Sandy Barber. She'll give us an update on the renovation of Memorial Stadium. Another big crowd here. It's amazing what the Bears have been able to do during the Tedford era. They've gone from about 16,000 season tickets as far back as 2002 to now over 40,000 season tickets.
Well, winning football draws a crowd in the Bay Area, and Cal fans are loyal, especially when their Bears are winning.
Finding a nice shady spot here on a gorgeous 74-degree Saturday in Strawberry Canyon. And the Bears have certainly backed it up with a huge performance here and see what Portland State can do. You know, Jeff Tedford will talk to him coming off the field as Scott Marsh will visit with him, and he's not going to be entirely happy with some of the things he's seen today.
I love this. Here's that wristband we talk about. Coach Tedford, his old quarterbacking days, still got that wristband on there.
Only calling about 10% of the plays, though. He told us yesterday Mike Dunbar calls about 90% of them now.
But he has to be involved in every aspect of that offense.
2nd and goal, 4-yard line, I formation. They throw the fade to Kirkland, and he's got a touchdown.
What a great pass that is by Freeman. He is not playing like a third quarterback. This guy is playing like he was meant for the role. Great ball out there. Perfect pass to the outside. Tremaine Kirkland not getting his hands up till late. You don't let the defense see your hands going up. Perfect touch. Lead him to the outside. Late reaction by the receiver. That's exactly how you draw it on the board.
And he beat Dante Hughes to score the touchdown. So Tremaine Kirkland has thrown at one, and now he has caught one. See if they can get this PAT through, and they do. Azor, who has missed now 4 in his career with the earlier miss, drives that through, and it's 35-16. Mike, Portland State's battling back here.
And just a quick 1.5 step drop for Freeman. Putting it to the outside. You know, turnovers. That's big. Cal with 2 turnovers, the fumble and the interception.
10 points.
That's right.
Now, we spoke earlier about the Dunbar dozen, and we've not clearly explained that to you, and we'll give you an update coming up at halftime. But Mike Dunbar, the new offensive coordinator here at Cal, throughout his years and years of coaching, he's a former head coach in his own right at Northern Iowa. There's Mike. Nicely done the way you were able to circle that.
How about that line?
You circle much better than your line segments.
My line drawing is bad.
But he's told us yesterday, I found it fascinating. He breaks down the offense, total offensive plays run of the game, and then he has 5 different categories: sacks, drops, interceptions, lost fumbles, and penalties.
Stupid penalties.
Stupid? Well, just any penalty, didn't he?
No, he said stupid. Stupid holding penalties, because sometimes you
quantify stupid versus
sometimes you get penalized for stuff that aren't really penalties. Often you can call holding on any play.
Right.
But if a guy goes out and gets a personal foul,
right.
Yeah.
Stupid penalty. I thought he was just kidding about that.
No, he meant it.
But you add up all those, and if it's less than 12% or less of your total offensive plays, then you're going to win 90% of the time. I love that. So we'll keep track of that. They were into the low 20 percentile against Tennessee as a case of reference. That's why they lost the game. They just made a lot of self-inflicted errors. But against Minnesota, it was below 12% last week.
Well, and exactly. It's a case of discipline. If you're disciplined enough to avoid the things that kill you in a football game, you're going to win, right? If you execute, 88% of the time is what it ends up being. If you execute 88% of the time or better, you're going to win in games. And it's just a great way to quantify it and teach guys to be disciplined at this level.
You can explain to me what a smart penalty is later on?
I will. Protecting your quarterback. That's a smart penalty.
Take the hold and not the sack.
Perfect.
There you go. How about a little screen out here? Room to go for Forsett. And Forsett's to midfield. Beautifully done by Justin Forsett, and nicely executed there on the screen pass.
Nice pass by Longshore. I really like the little juke at the end. You see a little head and shoulders by Forsett in there. Just froze the defender from Portland State.
Well, they've got time here. 44 seconds to go. Cal has 1 timeout remaining. As remember, they challenged on that fumble, and it was not overturned. They lost a turnover, or timeout, on that play.
Look at that little juke right at the end. Nice little stutter step, head and shoulders.
Well, he's big time. And they go into a slot formation left. Hawkins inside of Jackson. Longshore looking right and open and dropped. Will that be one of the drops for Mike Dunbar there from Deshaun Jackson, a catchable ball?
That will be a drop, because he said he doesn't want to put blame on one guy. When you say drop, oftentimes you just think receiver, but it's also about ball positions. The quarterback throw nice balls in the right spot. They'll look at that and say, listen, Nate, pick that ball up, get it where you can catch it. And then Deshaun, listen, you're getting a scholarship, catch that football.
Whether it's on the quarterback or the receiver, it's
on both.
It's the pass that should have been completed.
Right.
38 seconds to go. Here's the spread formation for Cal. And Longshore down the middle, and this one is caught. Inside the 30-yard line goes Deshaun Jackson.
Nice
will
pass.
Stop at 32 seconds. Mike, plenty of time here.
As wobbly as that last ball was, nice tight spiral by Longshore there. You see him looking to the left, coming back, finding his backside receiver. Good spot for that ball, and a nice catch by Jackson.
20-yard gain right down the seam. Here comes the blitz. And the lob open. Touchdown, Jackson. Boy, he was so wide open. as they blitzed.
That was stealing. Not only was he open because of the blitz, the defender out in the flat, I believe, actually slipped and left him all alone. Safety only left in the middle of the field. Not a whole lot you can do from there.
They got burned. That one will hurt in Portland State's locker room at halftime as they came on the blitz that time, and they lost to Sean Jackson.
Little half roll to the left. Longshore just looking at the safety, keeping him to the field side. It's that defender on the ground underneath. That was the man that was supposed to be downfield.
Second touchdown pass thrown by Longshore as he hits Deshaun Jackson, 27 yards out. Deshaun Jackson had the hat trick last week in the first half against Minnesota. He had 3 touchdowns in the first half. And when you go back now over their last 5 games, the Stanford big game last year, the bowl game against BYU, and now the first 3 games of this year, Mike, he has scored 8 touchdowns in the last 5 games.
Well, he's electric. He's a playmaker. And there you see that Portland State defender on the ground. That one, Longshore's going, just don't miss him. Just don't miss him. And Jackson's saying, oh, let me catch this ball. Just don't drop it. You know, that's when you get tight. I actually saw a little bobble there at the end. Those are such gimmies that's when your mind starts to play tricks on your body. You know you're good enough physically to make that play, and if there's a guy right in his hip, you throw the perfect ball every time. But when you're that wide open, you're pulling the string on every play.
Now keep in mind, Tim Walsh's Portland State Vikings in 2 games coming in, they had not allowed a touchdown. They had allowed 3 field goals and going 2-0 in the first half. Today, they've been burned for 5 offensive touchdowns, 3 rushing and 2 passing, and of course the defensive pick in return for a score by Dante Hughes. So 6 California touchdowns here in 30 minutes of football.
That's a little bit of a difference, but you're also coming up against an offensive juggernaut in the Golden Bears.
And you're not playing New Mexico or Northern Colorado, to be fair.
Well, I watched that game, New Mexico, in game film, and quarterback from New Mexico didn't throw a lot of strikes in that game and missed some wide open guys. Part of that, the scheme for Portland State. Part of that, just missed guys. Portland State's got to play Oregon coming up in late October. Oregon with a nice win today. Huh? Oregon, big win over Oklahoma, 34-33. Oregon's going to run the table this year. That is a good football team. I'm going to say it today. I bet they beat USC as well. You think so? Yeah. And they'll be here on October the 7th. When Oregon comes in and plays Cal, that's going to be a tough game. Obviously, all the Oregon connection with the Bears. But that is as good a college football team as I've seen in a long time. Both Stewart and Jeremiah Johnson, their backup running back, I think is as good or better than their starter. Dennis Dixon is the next sensation in college football as a quarterback. I just think they're outstanding. They'll be here October the 7th for a 5 o'clock kickoff. Next Saturday, Arizona State will be here, and the Bears will go up to Corvallis to play the Beavers in between. That'll be the last play of the opening half. Well, Cal had a couple of misfires along the way, a fumble by Forsett, Mike, and an interception, but overall, my goodness, 5 offensive touchdowns and a defensive score, and they've already scored 6 touchdowns in the first half alone. And they lead big by a score of 42-16. Marshawn Lynch got the touchdown, a 71-yard jaunt. Forsett also got one, O'Keefe got one, and don't forget Nate Longshore. He threw a couple of touchdowns here, one to Deshaun Jackson.
I heard about this company dumping toxins.
Papa back in Berkeley, 375 yards worth of total offense and 5 offensive touchdowns on a team that had not allowed a touchdown the first 2 games of the year. We're going to find out what Tim Walsh thinks of his team's performance from Portland State as we check in with Scott Marsh. Scott?
All right, Coach Walsh, obviously some momentum going into the first half minus that last touchdown. You recovered a couple of touchdowns. Your thoughts on the second half?
First and foremost, they're good. And secondly, I don't think we played very good on defense. I think we're better than that, but maybe it's just that they're that good on offense. I don't know. And then I think it was good that we got something going on offense, but not a happy camper right now by how we played. We made mistakes just schematically, didn't tackle, didn't play the way I think we're capable of playing. At least, let them know we're here.
Well, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, back up to you guys.
All right, Scott, thank you. You got to admire the honesty of head coach Tim Walsh. He was the head coach at Sonoma State in the late 80s and early 90s. He also coached here in the Bay Area at Morrow High School and Hayward, and also Sarah High on the other side of the Bay. And the first thing he said is that they're good.
They are.
And they are good. And what we're seeing is that Cal's offense starting to hit their stride. They had the opening day jitters in Knoxville, and now they're kind of playing their way into form.
It would have been a much different season for the Bears had they played Portland State or Minnesota first and then come into this game with Tennessee.
Yeah, good point.
They weren't together. They were just so pumped up in that first game. They had nowhere to go with that energy, and it turned into mistakes. I love Coach Walsh. I got to tell you, you can play football for this guy. Brutally honest, Cal is a good football team, and sometimes you can look for all the answers you want, but sometimes the answer is, hey, they're just better than we are. They're more physical. They're bigger, whatever it is. And if you can say that as a coach, you can be honest about it and move on.
Well, we'll see how the season winds up, but let's keep in mind that this is a team that was picked by many to win the national championship this year. They certainly are very skilled. Here's the kickoff to begin the second half, and that will be a touchback driven in the back of the end zone. Touchback as Dixon, the cornerback, will take the knee. And here's Rob Freeman, their third-string quarterback, who played pretty well. He was 3 for 3 coming into the game in some mop-up duty their first 2 games, Mike, and he was 3 for 4 in the first half with the touchdown.
Looked very poised back there as a third-string quarterback. Remember, during the week, you get your starter all the snaps. Your backup gets about 10% so that he has some familiarity with the offense. Your third-string guy is generally running your scout team. He's in your meetings, but he's running some scout team stuff to give you a good look. He hasn't taken any snaps in this offense this week.
Mourinho goes in motion, handoff up the middle, and the Bears have been tough against the running game, whether it's been Hoho Kano or James McGee. And this is McGee who had the first carry of the second half, flagged down. Maafalo on the tackle for California. This penalty will be against the Portland State Vikings.
Illegal shift.
Illegal shift. 2 players moving at the same time on the offense. That penalty has declined. And second down.
Since this isn't the CFL, you're not allowed to do that.
And you would know a thing about that.
I've been up there, yes. The Great White North.
Yes,
it's very cold,
Coach Tedford was up there.
He was.
Playing in the CFL.
Out of Fresno State, went up and played for a few years. I tell you what, as good a coach as he is, he was a tough quarterback. He was a good quarterback when he played, too.
I remember him playing for Jim Sweeney at Fresno State. Now it is 2nd and 9. McGee only picked up a yard. There's Kirkland, and he's pushed out of bounds after a short game. We've not talked much about Desmond Bishop, the other number 10 for the Cal Bears. They got a 10 on offense. Marshawn Lynch, maybe their best player, and this guy may be their best defender, along with Mebane, the middle linebacker, Desmond Bishop.
He has the speed, he has the size, he has the range. He reads extremely well. This guy is going to be playing at the next level. Coach Tedford had nothing but good things to say about him yesterday. This is the linebacker.
He had 10 tackles to lead the Bears last Saturday in their win against Minnesota. And that final score, very similar to the score right now, was 42-17 last Saturday. Third down, out of the shotgun. Pimentel putting some pressure on, the dump off, and McGee is tackled well shy of the first down. Again, it is Bishop in the area, and Brandon Hampton came over as well. Mebane went down on that play.
Well, you tend to focus on the big player in the middle. That's Brandon Mebane, and again, he's going up against the big offensive guard for Portland State. Carvalho out there. This is considered to be the number 1 guard in Division I AA, so that's a good matchup. One of the best D tackles in the country versus one of the best offensive guards in the country.
Now Carvalho got help from the center Duff, and he didn't need it. He knocked down Mebane on his own. Low snap from center, and a hurried punt there by Levers. Jackson room to go. Midfield, spins off one man, and then he's surrounded at midfield. Condrew Allen, boy, he's made all the special teams tackles for Portland State. That's his 3rd tackle of Deshaun Jackson covering punts for the Vikings.
Well, you've got to have a guy like that on your team. Gives you 100% effort every snap on special teams, has the speed to make some plays. Allen been a great player so far in that special teams game for Portland State.
Aaron Dixon also lurking in the area on special teams for the Vikings. They're going to bring Joe Ayoub in to play quarterback now here in the second half. So Ayoub takes over, and he gets a nice ovation here at Cal. Ayoub, of course, finished up the game in Tennessee.
Coming out with that spread look right away, Joe Ayoub in the game.
Calling an audible, play clock at 3. And Ayoub throws a nice coverage there by Dominic Dixon. And he played that well.
So much of this spread game is based on the quarterback's reads, figuring out what the defense is doing and reacting to it, both in the run game and the pass game. So you always have the run-pass option. Jeff Tedford said he didn't want to bring the spread in and just experiment with it this year. If he was going to bring it in, he was going to bring it in with the guy that was a master of it, which is why he met Mike Dunbar. And decided to bring him in as a coach. This guy had already made all the mistakes with the spread that you can make.
Yeah.
And said, I'm going to bring it in and run it well right away.
Now, this team is too good to have a learning curve. You want to be up to speed right away. Forsett trying to make the big play, gets hit behind the line and swarmed by Portland State. Now, as we know, the off-season battle between Longshore and Ayoub went right down to the final week before the opener against Tennessee as one of the Bear linemen, and that's not a good sign. They're already playing without a couple of their linemen down.
Eric Robertson down out there. Nate had a nice little day for a quarterback, 225 yards and a couple TDs.
But the question I had, he's a young guy who's not played a lot of football. Why would he make the change here at halftime and not let Longshore just continue on and get some more snaps and get ready for the Pac-10 schedule next week?
Well, Nate's had a couple snaps. He's had some success the last two games. You're in a game 42-16 that could potentially be a runaway. If nothing else, Jeff Tedford has class, and he's going to make sure that he gets his guy snaps. You know, you don't drop off that much with Joe Ayoub. Remember, he started 9 games last year. He led this team, so it's not a huge drop-off. You get him some reps, and you also kind of call the dogs off at the same time.
Eric Robertson. What else is going to happen on this line here? Cameron and Smith have missed time with ankle injuries, and now Eric Robertson, the left guard, has to limp off the field, and they bring in another backup on the offensive line. Krieg comes in, Tyler Krieg to play at guard. So it is 3rd down and 12. Out of the shotgun is Joe Ayoub. Forsett to his right in the flat. And he breaks one tackle, breaks another, and he'll just be shy of the first down by about 3 yards.
Well, there's a difference between Marshawn Lynch and Forsett. Lynch runs through that arm tackle because of his diminutive side. Forsett gets spun around, slows him down. He doesn't get the extra yards after the initial arm tackle.
This will be Cal's first punt of the day, as they had the interception on their first series. Their 3rd snap from center as Forsett gets some coaching on the sideline.
Coach Ron Gold.
Ron Gold, their running back coach, Mike. As you know, Andrew Larson has had great hang time this early year. He's punted 10 times, and the opponents have returned just 3 of them for 22 yards. Nick Sundberg will snap. Good snap. Pressure. And Cole Smith almost blocked that. Carino, their wide receiver, also runs back punts, the best in the school history, and they just could not quite get down in time to save Larson from a touchback.
Well, the Bears in position, but not able to make the play. They were down there, Randy Bundy just outside, but didn't quite make the play.
So Larson picks up the touchback, his very first touchback of the year. Lynch and Forsett talk about it over the sideline, up 42-16.
Do chaser hangover?
Offensive lineman Cameron came in with an ankle sprain, not playing, and 2 linemen have been dinged up in the game. Scott, you got more on those injuries for us?
Yeah, Greg. For Scott Smith, who got hurt in the first half, a right knee sprain, he will not return. As for Eric Robertson, he has his helmet on. He looks fine. So a man who sports 19 tattoos got tattooed, but appears to be okay. Back up to you, Greg.
Oh, very nice. You stole my line. He has an injured tattoo, and that's it, huh? And the Cal Bears front 4 dominating this game. Able to swarm all over Hohokano.
Maybe Coach Tedford will start getting tattoos. Just tattoo the plays right on your forearm. You don't have to worry about a wristband.
I don't think so.
That's right. They keep changing. What are you going to do? Scratch it out and come back?
He's got 150 plays.
That's a lot of plays.
He'd have more tattoos than Robertson would.
That'd be a painful tattoo, wouldn't it?
You know, we were talking earlier about why would he make the change going from the younger player Longshore to the veteran, the senior Ayoub, and maybe Longshore needs more snaps getting into conference play. But you made a good point in the break with all the injuries in the offensive line. He maybe doesn't want Longshore to take any hits.
Yeah, well, you know, you get late in the game when you're up, offensive lineman. It doesn't happen where you do it noticeably, where you're thinking about it and actively saying, we're not going to block as much. But they tend to let down on blocking. They don't maintain their blocks as long. And then you add to that the fact that you're down 3 starters, and you don't want to get your starting quarterback whacked. Remember, he missed last season after less than a half of play with a broken ankle. He knows he's got his guy in Nate Longshore. Protect him and get your guy some snaps and call the dogs off. You know, there's a whole bunch of benefits to the move, so why not do it?
And on top of that, you're all up against a defense that has already seen their first team and second team quarterbacks knocked out, so they may run a
little bit of a grudge.
Payback. And they certainly have the defensive personnel to do that. 1st and 10. There's the wide receiver screen to Matkins out, and the Bears are all over that, covering up Kenneth Matkins. Cody Jones playing at defensive end, actually able to drop down and make the play. Quite an athlete he is. Played D-line, tight end, and quarterback in high school, growing up in Tucson, and he's added some weight to play on the D-line and getting some more reps with the stinger that Mahafato suffered in Tennessee.
Well, back and forth on both sides of the line. You've got guys, nicked, injured, not out for the season, but the Bears right now have something that they haven't had for a long time, which is depth. The last few years, Jeff Tedford has built depth in this program. We're seeing great athletes filling in on both sides.
There's Portland State's version of the spread offense. 3 receivers right, 1 left out of a shotgun. Freeman down the sideline, and it is out of bounds. Well covered there. Tremaine Kirkland found it a little too tight. Bernard Hicks, the safety, came over to force him out.
Yeah, ball just floating a little bit to the outside there. Kirkland doing a good job pulling that ball down with 2 blue jerseys around him. You see floating to the outside, nothing he can do to stay in bounds and make that catch.
Kirkland has scored 1 touchdown. He's also thrown 1 touchdown out of Hiram Johnson High School up in Sacramento. 3rd down and 9 for Portland State out of the Big Sky Conference, Division I AA school. There's pressure on Freeman, gets it away, and not able to make the catch on the dive is Matkins.
Nice try by Freeman. As a quarterback, a lot of the times you see balls just miss outside one side or the other. Pay attention to the way their body's moving. As you start to drift as a quarterback, either running or just drifting back, Freeman was backpedaling there, drifting back. You turn to throw, the ball tends to drift the same direction that you're going. And when they miss on a lot of those, it's because quarterbacks don't account for that body movement setting up the pass.
Rashawn Jackson back to return the punt of Andrew Levers. Tafisi also got some really good pressure there on Freeman, and that last incomplete. There's Levers. And Deshaun Jackson, a low one, has room to go. First 2 guys he goes around. And then he's dropped it around the 40-yard line. That was a low punt by Andrew Levers. 40-yard punt, a good return by Deshaun Jackson, though.
Talked to Pete Alomar, special teams coordinator for the Bears, before the game, and said, if he keeps driving those balls like that, he might want to be careful with Deshaun Jackson back there, because he can make something special happen.
Now, flag down.
Coach
Tedford coming back here. Happy. It's a flag down, which will give Portland State the ball back. It's going to be an automatic first down for Portland State. What happened on that? Did they rough the kicker? I did not hear the call from our referee, Brian O'Kane. I think they roughed the kicker.
I did not see it.
Well, they got an automatic first down, Portland State does, out to the 47-yard line. Special teams always a concern. There was a large part of the loss at USC in 2004, and last year's loss to UCLA, partly attributable to special teams plays. Look at that tackle, though, made by Desmond Bishop, the middle linebacker. A powerful hit there.
Desmond Bishop said, "Not in my neighborhood, not coming this direction." We talked about him as a linebacker. He is the whole package. Got that shoulder brace on there. A lot of those on that Cal defense. Just the straight ISO play. Bishop stays clean, untouched. Just driving the ball carrier back. That's how you're supposed to play that position.
And that's what a presence of Mebane can do for you when he's drawing a double team in the interior line. It allows the middle linebacker to roam free and step up and make a tackle like that. All goes hand in hand. Cal has such a great front 4 here. They get a good push from the front 4. Freeman, and knocked away beautifully there on the coverage. Nicely done by Thompson, able to swat that one away as Desmond Bishop and Williams got in. The weak side linebacker came at a blitz, a flag down, and it's a personal foul on Cal.
Well, we talked about Desmond Bishop. Warrell Williams, the other linebacker, nice job. Watch him here. This route is going to come out to the outside. He does a nice job as a linebacker of running underneath and getting between the quarterback and his receiver.
15-yard penalty, first down.
Right there, he's in the lane. Stop it. See, the quarterback can't come here now. It's cut off. He's got a linebacker in the way. The problem is now he sees the quarterback, he attacks, and gets the penalty late. 1, 2 and a half steps.
Without question.
Good call by the official.
And that's something Williams does a lot in the Cal defense. He will sense a quick throw, and he'll get in the passing lane. So debilitating penalties here. They rough the kicker to give the ball back to Portland State. and now they rough the quarterback to give him 15 more yards.
If Dunbar was a defensive coach, that would be one of his stupid penalties.
That would be really dumb. Let's see what Portland State can do with it offensively. Portland State, as they built this team, we're obviously building it around their defense and the running of Momar Ali. As we mentioned earlier, they transfer from New Mexico State, but he broke a scapula about 4 weeks ago. It's about a 6-week injury. They're hoping to get him back in a couple of weeks, but that obviously has changed Tim Walsh's entire attack to lose his number one back.
Well, yeah, you end up running by committee. You know, we've seen a couple guys running the ball for him today. It disrupts your offense. But the running game and defense is where you win championships. Coach Walsh knows that. That's how he's built this football team.
2nd and 7. Freeman, he can run for a first down here. He'll go feet first. It'll be very close.
That's a flag. Absolutely.
Do it again.
Absolutely. Head to head. Throw that flag. You have to pull off as a linebacker. The quarterback is sliding. Do not hit him in the head. That was a straight headbutt. And I don't think Bishop meant it. You know, I don't think he came out thinking, I'm going to hurt this kid. But that's a good way to get a quarterback hurt.
Illegal helmet contact. Number 10 in the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, Bob Gregory, the defensive coordinator for the Bears, has to be incensed by this.
You see him put his head down. He's already in tackle mode. He's going to make a tackle. The quarterback slides. You have to be able to pull off, roll out to the side. Instead, Bishop keeps going, hits him. That's 3 stupid penalties on the same drive.
And 45 yards, starting with essentially a turnover. Cal had the ball as Portland State had punted the ball away, and they roughed the punter. And now they're inside the red zone.
Cal's offense should be driving the ball right now. Instead, defense is keeping him on the field, and dumb special teams play.
Matkins comes in motion. Handoff, McGee up the middle, and the Bears able to pounce on that and push him back. And that front four just very tough to run on. The ball did come out. I saw the ball pop out, but no one was reacting as Desmond Bishop laid the hit on McGee. The ball did pop out.
Well, they can struggle for it all they want under the pile, but they've already ruled it California ball.
And I would be surprised. That is Bishop who gets up slowly. It was Bishop that laid the first hit and knocked the ball out from McGee's hands.
Coach is going to say, hey, nice job recovering that fumble. Now let's talk about that late hit. He's going to get chewed on the sideline.
Tim Walsh will want to see this replay and see when the ball came out. It began to be dislodged right there. And
there
then
it is.
It comes
it's
out there.
Completely out.
So clearly,
Laurel Williams making a big hit in the pile. Bishop standing him up. Williams cleaning it up. That ball out in a big wrestling match underneath.
And the ever-present Pimentel also there to be a part of it. Here's O'Keefe now with room to go. He's got a first down. Out to the 29-yard line. There goes Marcus O'Keefe.
Running behind a patchwork offensive line here for the Bears. Guys filling in.
Well, it tells you how good Bishop is after the personal foul. You know he was upset. He comes back and takes the ball away himself.
Makes a big play, yeah.
Virtually on order.
Outstanding football player. Young. He's a college player. These aren't NFL guys. They're going to make some mistakes. You just have to be able to get in the film room, correct it, and not do it again.
So Joe Ayub under center. They do have 4 on the line. 2 receivers left, 2 right. And they give it to O'Keefe again up the middle. And as Bishop being attended to over on the sideline. Actually just getting some water. He looks all right.
Those linebackers never have problems. You know, they're just tough guys in there.
Well, you have to be impressed with this front 7 of the Bears. We've talked a lot about the front 4, but the linebacking core is very strong, anchored by Desmond Bishop, the senior out of Fairfield, California, Fairfield High School. Played with Ayub at City College of San Francisco. They've had some injuries in the secondary, and they've lost a couple of great safeties. At the front 7, the front 4, and the linebackers are as good as anybody has in the country. Nice move and running for a first down is Cunningham. Laurel Cunningham with the catch and run for the Bears as they're using all their weapons on offense here. Adam Hayward on the tackle for Portland State.
Well, some clean jerseys starting to show up in the game, mixing guys in. The more reps that you can get guys who don't play very often, the more mature they're going to become, the better they're going to be if you need them down the line.
And next week it starts in earnest after 3 non-conference games to open against an SEC school, a Big Ten school today, up against Portland State out of the Big Sky. They'll get in the Pac-10 play next Saturday here, 12:30 kickoff against Arizona State. First and 10 for Ayub. Little play action. And he's going for the big ball. And it is broken up inside the 20-yard line. Craig Stevens, the tight end, got down the field that time.
Sean Young out there in the route actually should have hauled that ball in. You've got to go up and get it at its highest point and make the catch. That'll be one of those drops again Mike Dunbar talks about. Not the perfect pass. See, Ayuk, but he puts it out there where it could be caught. Young hits both hands.
Nice play.
Nice play by Jackson on defense. As a receiver, you've got to make a catch every now and then. But remember, this kid's earning a scholarship too. He's going to make some plays.
Yeah, it was Sean Young and not Stevens, who I don't think has played at all today, if more than a couple of plays. Sean Young, a junior out of Berkeley High School here. They go empty backfield now, and they'll swing it out for O'Keefe. He's fighting for the yardage, trying to get the first down. He'll come up, I think, a little bit shy. That's a nice play on 2nd and 10.
O'Keefe, a very good back. We talked about him. His sister actually played basketball here for the Bears, Latasha O'Keefe. She was a star on the women's basketball program. So athletic tradition here in the O'Keefe family for the Bears.
See De La Puente now in playing at left guard for Eric Robertson. Cale with 3 offensive linemen out, their 3rd string running back, and they're still making big plays. O'Keefe bursting through, and he's across the 40 and down to the Portland State 38-yard line.
Did you see him put the hand down? That's the classic running back drill, the hand down drill. These guys do it 3 times a week during practice. You get hit, you maintain your balance, you put that that hand down for your 3rd base. Nice hold and good trust in your offensive line just to hit it right there. Right hand down, get back up. Pick up another 6 yards.
Look at him push them back.
That is offensive effort.
Cale getting close to 500 yards worth of total offense, and now they drop the snap from center. And it looked like Alec Mack made a pretty good snap there. It was just dropped. Was it low?
It was low. That ball was low. It hit AU. It either hit on the ground right before it got to him or it hit him in the foot. Tough for a quarterback to reach down and make that kind of play.
Cole Smith recovers the snap from center. Yeah, it was low and hard.
So you see low, hard, at his feet. And actually, yesterday, Coach Tedford told us we haven't had any problems with it. This is the first time they've used the shotgun in Tedford's offense. Said haven't had any problems with it during the year. Ball came up low that time.
That's one of the big concerns he had. They going to the shotgun. They never had asked Alec Mack, of course, taking over for Marvin Phillip to long snap, and he had to do it the first game out of the shotgun in Knoxville. And that one was his first bad one. And that is the Bears' 3rd turnover of the game. Well, O'Connell with a short gain of a yard or 2.
And the thing about the shotgun, if you haven't put it in before, I've been on teams where it's gone in. The snaps are atrocious. The first week and a half, it's horrible in practice. Coaches absolutely lose their minds about the shotgun snaps.
And they got to be thinking, let's just junk this
let's
spread.
Get rid of it.
We can't do this.
You put in all this effort, this meeting time to put this offense in. Eventually, those guys get the snaps, though. It's amazing. And that's a tough skill for a center, to be able to snap it back there and punch. Remember, he's got to punch with the opposite hand. That's a tough skill.
3 minutes to play in a scoreless 3rd quarter after 58 combined points in the first half. A little bit behind Kirkland, but he makes the catch. Thompson on the tackle. Follett also lurking there.
And Zach Follett about a 1/10 of a second from making a big interception on that play. He was fully airborne, feet above his head. Right here, running out. No, just missed it.
Nice pass by Rob Freeman. He got it through.
Stuck it in there, didn't he?
A trio of Bears. Rob Freeman, 8 of 11 since coming in. 3rd down and 1. O'Connell was tripped up and stopped shy of the first down. Hampton came in from the defensive backfield, the rover back, and he tripped him up. Let's see what Tim Walsh does here on 4th down.
Rulon Davis as well, defensive lineman for the Bears, we haven't talked about much today. Came out of the pile, pretty fired up.
And what a great story. Number 94 is on defense. Walsh will go for it on 4th down. Rulon Jones has not played in a couple of years, but he has a pretty good excuse, you might say. He was in the Marines for 4 years and actually had a 6-month tour of duty in Iraq and was stationed near Fallujah. And he came back and wrecked his motorcycle.
Got in a motor.
Full house. They're going to roll out, and they've got the first down the sideline. Nice call there by Portland State. As they get the rollout and the throw, DeCou is in on the tackle.
Pack everybody in the box, play action to the outside. There's nobody left out there. See, everybody's packing the box. The Bears thinking everybody's coming straight ahead, short yardage. Whoops, play action.
Matt Nelson, the tight end, got free.
Great job, nice movement. Good job by the big man to turn upfield, get a couple extra yards there. And DeCou doing everything he can do to knock him down. Big tight end, those guys carry a lot of weight.
Well, Portland State hanging in this third quarter, a scoreless quarter. They go 4th and 1, and they pick up 18 yards on that play.
Uh-oh.
Going the other way. Mebane leads the charge.
And that was straight penetration. Brandon Mebane was in the backfield in a hurry. Nothing Freeman can do with Brandon Mebane bearing down on him. See Mebane right there in the center of your screen. And again, he's going up against Cavallo. This time he says, you're not turning me, I'm moving you.
We talked about
Cavallo's core strength. That was core strength by Mebane. Just a big push. Got him. Remember, the best guard at the 1AA level, Mebane just threw him around like a rag doll.
Those two guys may be playing on Sundays in a couple of years.
I will almost guarantee
Mebane picks up his second sack of the year. Had 7 last year from defensive tackle. Quite a high number for an interior lineman. His snap whistled down.
Yeah, those big guys are usually run stoppers.
Dead ball, delay of game on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
It's the outside guys, the defensive ends that are usually the pretty boys, get all the glamour out there running down quarterbacks and creating sacks. But Mebane, he just wreaks havoc from that inside position.
You know, the Bears have, we mentioned before, quite a front four and a lot of pressure from the linebacking core. They've picked up 3 quarterback sacks alone today. Final seconds of the third quarter, just 10 seconds to go. 2nd and 21 for Portland State. They've got 4 eligible, 2 left and 2 right. And they're not going to get the play off. The quarter will sound, and the quarter will end before they snap the ball. So we had a scoreless third quarter after the two schools combined to score 58 points in the first 2 quarters, but Cal will take it, and we'll head to the fourth quarter here against Tim Walsh's Portland State Vikings. Cal up 42-16. Campus, the Campanile, and the Bears got 21 in each of the first 2 quarters. A scoreless third quarter for both schools, and we start the fourth quarter here at 84-year-old Memorial Stadium with the Bears up 42-16. 2nd and 21. Rob Freeman, the third Portland State quarterback, trying to fit one in there to Ferrigno, who outside of the 1 touchdown he scored today has had a quiet game.
Well, receivers in general for Portland State have had a quiet game today. It's hard as a quarterback when you keep ending up on your back to deliver a lot of balls downfield. Backs, tight ends tend to get a lot more balls when the quarterback's feeling heat. Receivers only get the big ones.
This Cal defense has obviously been very stout. Tafisi's knocked out 1 quarterback. Pimentel has knocked out another. And this is their 3rd string quarterback, Rob Freeman. Portland State goes into an eye on 3rd down and long. They run the draw. And this will not get it for them. And see what they do on 4th down as Kano is stopped about 11 yards shy. Thomas DeCou picks up another tackle. The Bears' leading tackler from free safety coming in with 19 tackles. He had 13 alone in the Tennessee loss, and he had 10 solos. It's 4th down coming up, 4th and 12 for Portland State. And they'll go for it. Too long for a field goal attempt, so they'll go for it on 4th down.
And at 42-16, it doesn't kill you.
Let it fly.
What do you have in your playbook for 4th down and 12? Let's see. You could run the deep out. You could run the comeback. Spread it out. Try to run some vertical routes down the field.
They're going empty, and now they're going to call a timeout as Rob Freeman gets up on the line. They had an empty backfield behind him. 3 receivers right, and 2 went left. Tim Walsh, you got to admire this program, though, for scheduling not 1, not 2, but 3 Division I programs. Division 1A, they've already beaten New Mexico. They've got this game, and then later on they're going to play the Oregon Ducks. So we'll talk more about Portland State. They've been a feisty bunch today despite losing their top 2 quarterbacks. continues next week. We have an exciting rivalry game again from the Sacramento area. We'll be live from Del Oro High School as the Golden Eagles take on Nevada Union Miners. Prep football at its best from Sacramento, 7:30 next Friday on Comcast Sportsnet. You had a doubleheader this weekend, Mike.
Yeah, I did.
I saw you last night.
Yeah, Valley Christian versus Grant. We talked about Warrell Williams. His cousin, Marcellus Williams, just ran up and down the field last night. Grant won versus Valley Christian. That's fun doing those games.
Pretty nice stadium there last night, huh?
Incredible.
There's Freeman rolling out on 4th down. He's got to get to the 22-yard line, and did he cross the line? He did.
Crossed the line,
This is coming back. If only it was that easy and allowed. McClintock down the sideline where the quarterback saw McClintock open after he crossed the line of scrimmage. So this will be an illegal forward pass.
As soon as you cross the line of scrimmage, everybody knows they can come up and pop you. They come up and react, but he was about 1.5 yards, 2 yards downfield. And that was 4th down, so of course it's going to be a turnover here.
Yep, it'll get it back.
Illegal forward pass by number 12 of the offense, throwing the pass beyond the line of scrimmage. That penalty carries loss of down, 5 yards, 1st down Cal.
Should have kept going. Right, well, once you crossed the line, that was it.
He wasn't going to get it anyway,
no.
So.
And he would have got it popped.
Either way, that ball's going back to the Bears.
So Tim Walsh going forward on 4th down. We were talking earlier about Portland State, and you have to admire them for scheduling 3 games this year, early in the year, against Division 1A schools. Of course, they get a nice payday. When you add up the 3 games, they'll put $1 million into their athletic program, and the entire football program they funded $1.5 million. So 3 games, they essentially pay for their entire football program.
Well, yeah, it's a nice payday, but they also get some competition against big teams. They come back into their conference and they've played some big-time teams. There's quarterback Steve Levy, the big game hero from last year.
Yeah, he finished up the last 2 games of last year, the bowl game as well. Steve was involved in the off-field altercation this year and was suspended for the Tennessee game, but he's back here. The Bears using this last game before they get into Pac-10 play as a chance to get all their quarterbacks a little bit of work and also use some different running backs as well.
Levy is a great kid. He is one of those blue-collar quarterbacks, blue-collar guys. Teammates love him. His off-season altercation, I talked to him about it before the season started, or off-field, and he said, it's just one of those things. I knew it the second I did it that I was going to be in trouble. And no lack of discipline in this Cal program. Tedford said, that's it, you're not playing. You were in the competition, but no more.
Brian Schutte on the screen, and a big catch and run by Brian Schutte. A flag is down, though. Flag is down back at midfield. And we'll see what that's for. Linesman, it's going to be a hold on the Bears, so the screen to Schutte will be brought back.
Holding, number 53 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains 2nd down.
Mike Gibson playing at right tackle for the injured Scott Smith called for the hold.
Here comes your hold.
That's not much of a hold.
That's not very. That's.
Did he get up and really hold? That's it?
That was bad.
If I'm Brian Schutte, I'm not too happy.
No.
That they called that play back on me.
Or if you're Levy, or if you're Smith, or excuse me, Gibson. Yeah. He didn't hold anybody. He said, what are you calling? But so that goes back to our point we were talking about earlier. Remember with Dunbar, if you're looking for it, you can find a hold on any play in college football.
All right, so does that not make his list of stupid penalties then? That would not qualify,
well, it wasn't a very good call. Yeah, I would guess that does not qualify on his list.
I don't know. I think if you have a lot of those, you're not going to win, though.
No, you're right.
Here's Steve Levy. And a little behind. Now, that'll be a drop ball. As it was certainly a catchable ball, but it was thrown behind.
It'll be a drop ball, but it'll put it on the quarterback.
Yeah,
that ball needs to go in front.
There's Mike Dunbar. We talked about the Dunbar dozen earlier. And you got to be impressed with this guy. Now it's up to over 14% of the total offensive plays. He wants a percentage of 12 or less, resulting in sacks, drops, interceptions, lost fumbles, or penalties. And this is all coming in the second half. In the first half, when Longshore ran this team, they were almost perfect.
They were very precise. The one bad interception, but precise outside of that. The second half, you've got some new bodies, some new faces in there. It's a bad pass by Levy. He needs to bring that ball down, so that, again, will add to that list.
Trying to hit Desai for a second time, and he overthrew him twice. Desai was the receiver on the previous ball that was thrown behind him a little bit. So the offense not running as smoothly for Ayoub and not running as smoothly for Levy. But your point earlier about the starting quarterback gets most of the reps. It's tough. Once you make the call to go to Longshore, it's going to be tough to come in and play off the bench.
You can't. You only have so many snaps during the week in practice to give your guy. You give him as many snaps as you can give him. You give your backup a few so that he's fresh. Your third string guy is really throwing routes to receivers in individual drills during the week and throwing some scout team stuff. Nice punt.
Yeah, it's another beautiful punt. Mourinho back inside the 10. He's Portland State's all-time punt return leader in many categories, but I think they found a punter here in Berkeley, and then they have to go to Australia to find this guy.
Yeah, big trip for Coach Tedford, going down to Australia for 1 full hour.
But Andrew Larson, he only had to go to Southern California. So Ayoub and Longshore, no controversy over on that sideline, huh? We got football, high school, college, the pros. Keep up with the Niners all season long on Comcast Sportsnet. Host Chris Townsend will take you inside the Niners world. In-depth interviews, access you won't get anywhere else. Watch 49ers Insider. That's Thursday nights at 10 only on Comcast Sportsnet. Niners are home tomorrow in week 2 to take on the Rams after pretty good performance in their opener last weekend at Arizona. Here in Berkeley, it's all Cal, but Portland State, they've kept this second half scoreless. Rob Freeman, their third string quarterback, and he's got Perino, and that's a first down out across the 30-yard line. Brendan Perino with the catch, the senior out of South Salem High School up in Oregon. Of course, he scored a touchdown earlier in the game.
Portland State's offense still scrappy, still moving it, still doing what they can to pick up some points and execute here. It's important for both teams at this point of the game to execute. Just continue to execute, maintain what you do, don't lose discipline.
Marshawn Lynch having a running back meeting over on the sideline. 12 minutes to play. They go into an eye and they give it to the fullback, McClintock, for a short gain. A little pushing and shoving after the play concludes. I mentioned what a fabulous day of college football it has been today. Arguably the best ever as far as top 25 action. 7 games today involving both schools in the top 25, and a couple of scores just jump out. Michigan goes into South Bend and routs Notre Dame.
Absolutely whacked Notre Dame
47-21. And then Auburn beats LSU, and probably the best matchup of the day, Mike, number 3 versus number 6. Auburn 7, LSU 3.
That must have been an exciting game.
It was for Auburn.
Yeah, those high-scoring offensive battles are always so much fun to watch.
Loved it. And Louisville with a big win over Miami, 31-7. Number 12 beating number 17. Here's the one that we all kind of went wow, because Oregon at home was trailing Oklahoma by 13 points with 2:45 to play in the game. It was 33-20. Your final, Oregon 34, Oklahoma 33.
Obviously winning the game is big, but coming back late like that is huge.
2 touchdowns in the last 2:45?
Last 2:45. That's huge for your confidence. Oregon is a very good football team. They still have to face Cal. They still have to face USC. And, of course, the Pac-10, a tough conference to play in. But that, right now, they're as good a football team as exists in the country.
Yeah, they're pretty good. There's no doubt.
I'm just amazed. Dixon, their new quarterback up there, Dennis Dixon, he's fun to watch. He's just a freak show out there. He's running the ball one direction. He's throwing it the other direction. He's finding guys wide open. He's making people miss. He's the real deal.
There's no question. Meanwhile, some of the youngins on the Cal defensive front are getting some playing time. Remember the recruitment of Derek Hill, one of the most decorated players in the incoming class, a consensus prep All-American out of McClymonds High School in Oakland. He is in getting some play here in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 8. And that was whistled down before the snap. A flag came in. Maybe a false start on Portland State's interior line.
Yeah, you talk about some of these young players that we're getting a chance to see right now. And there are guys on this Tedford team that the likes of which Cal hasn't seen in a long time. Tedford is one of the best recruiters going in the nation. He has such charisma and such passion for his game. He knows how to recruit kids. He knows how to talk to them. And he brings in talent into this school on such a level. They're top 10, top 15 recruiting class.
Robertson smiling over on the sideline. His injury obviously not serious. Here comes the onslaught of the Bear defensive front. Tyson Alualu got in there and picked up the hit. We talked about Derek Hill, and he's playing now alongside Alualu. And they think that this guy may be the biggest surprise on the club, a true freshman from Honolulu, where he was a 3-time All-State performer in the islands.
And in Hawaii, there is more talent in a small area over in Hawaii than anywhere else in the country. There is so much talent in those guys that play over there. Florida's good, Texas good, California, but for such a small space, Hawaii is talented. So for Derek Hill to be a guy in Hawaii, that says something.
Well, we did the Hawaii Warriors, the Rainbows game last year at San Jose State, as Freeman under siege, and he is sacked. 4th sack of the game. Chris Perks gets in there from his linebacking slot and picks up the Bears' 4th set down of a Viking quarterback.
Good pressure, a little bit of a coverage sack. Freeman nowhere to go with the ball. Nice tackle. Wrap up those legs, they can't go anywhere. Perks doing a nice job. Every level has done a nice job for Cal so far. The 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string guys, all doing a very nice job right now.
This is a school that protected Sawyer Smith very well. Last year he was sacked only 10 times. Well, the first time he was hit today, he was knocked out of the game. Tafisi, and Portland State has not been the same since. Nice catch there. And a couple of flags come down on the return of Hampton, who's back now returning for Deshaun Jackson. 2 flags came down right where he caught the football. Well, Cal, with a sizable lead here at 42-16, will take their record to 2-1. They will finish up the non-conference portion of the schedule. And Derek Hill, the true freshman of the Bears, the Baby Bears, will get set for conference play.
He's excited.
He can't wait.
Holding number 29 of the return team during the kick. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down.
ESAP called for the penalty on special teams as Mebane and the Cal Bears will continue this 3-game homestand. They played at home against Minnesota last week in the game today. They'll play Arizona State coming up here next Saturday at 12:30 kickoff. Then it goes to Corvallis, and then the game we're all looking forward to, October the 7th.
We've been talking about that team. That's a good football team. I look forward to seeing that game. If anybody's going to knock them off this year, it's going to be Cal or USC. They got some great football teams in the Pac-10 this year.
Well, Oregon coming into play today, ranked number 18 in the nation, and they beat the 15th ranked Oklahoma Sooners by a point, rallying back late. So that'll be obviously a very good matchup. Always a good matchup. Mike Bellotti, one of the great offensive minds in college football, going up against Jeff Tedford.
Against his guy. Jeff Tedford used to be his offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach up there. A lot of Oregon ties here between Cal and Oregon. Very similar systems and very similar coaches. You know, you talk to these guys, they may not think so, but Bellotti, very disciplined, very personable, very intense about the game. Jeff Tedford, disciplined, personable, intense about the game. Neither one of them missed very many points that it takes to be good.
2nd and 1. Steve Levy with his 2nd series taking over at quarterback for the Bears. And this one will not be flagged down. Schutte with a nice run, nice adjustment there going into the line. And he swerves out for a 1st down. There's Brian Schutte, a 14-yard run after he had a sizable screen earlier, nullified by a holding penalty.
How about that cutback by Schutte? Watch this. Front side zone. Everybody blocking up. Good vision. I talked about it earlier for a tailback. If that whole flow is going one direction, you cut back and find the hole. That's exactly the way that play is designed. Tailback uses their eyes to read the zone blocking. It all went away from him. He made a nice cutback. Good job by Schutte.
Brian Schutte, the redshirt freshman. And he swung out on the left flat. They go right, though. And that was well diagnosed by the very aggressive defense. And Stanley Jackson coming up from right cornerback to make the big tackle there.
So if you're Brian Schutte, you're the 4th string tailback. You have Marshawn Lynch, Justin Forsett, Marcus O'Keefe in front of you. You ever expect to see the field?
Well, after they all go.
Yeah, once they go away.
I'm only a freshman. Lynch is a junior, Forsett's a junior, and O'Keefe already has his degree.
Yeah, he's a senior, so he can step up to number 3 next year.
Until they recruit somebody else.
That's right.
That's where this program is at now. All these great athletes coming in. Here's Schutte, getting a little chance to do something with it on the screen. Gets a block down the sideline. Nicely done, Brian Schutte, running very well since coming in for the Bears. Little shot right in the eye.
That looks like it hurts.
I've never tried that.
It's an old technique used by
catcher?
Oski, yeah.
You learned that here?
You heard about breathing through your eyelids like the lizards down in South America. Oski can drink through his eyes.
That's a great talent.
It is. You know, people have certain skills. Oski has his.
And Oski again upstaging Schutte. Comes up with a big play, and we don't even talk about his great screen run. Here's Levy now going to roll out after the play action pass. Their offense working well as they dive inside the 25-yard line. Porter on the tackle for Portland State as we check in with Scott Marsh downstairs. Scott?
All right, Greg, thank you. We know about the offensive line woes for the Bears today. One person who's getting to play a little bit because of it, that's Mike Tepper, who's on the field now. He's known as a hero around the Cal campus. Of course, he didn't play last year at all. Before the season started, he was involved with an incident. He was walking with a lady friend. A couple of hooligans came over in the car. They were harassing her. Tepper kind of defended her. The car ended up rolling over his leg. He missed all of last year, but is back this season. A great story here on the Cal campus. Back to you, Greg.
Yeah, it got so bad as Levy runs for his life inside the 20. They were actually considering, doctors were amputating his foot. I mean, that's just unbelievable that something like that would happen here at Telegraph Avenue.
Yeah, to go from having physicians talking about amputating your foot to now playing at the D1 Pac-10 level, that's a long way.
And the young lady you're strolling with is a well-known Cal volleyball player. He stepped up to defend her and wound up with that. So just good to see him back and playing, even though he himself is playing for the injured Andrew Cameron, who's had to bounce back from several injury. That's a live ball as Levy's pitch back to Schutte was behind him, and Schutte dives back on it. Now that technically will not make Dunbar's dozen, right? Because it was not a lost fumble, but that was a sizable loss.
That's right. And you made that point yesterday when we talked to him. You said fumbles or lost fumbles, although it wasn't a very good play.
No, I mean, that's like a sack.
Here's the problem. You need to take a step with that play if you're the tailback. Schuette's out in a hurry, and Levy, who is a right-handed quarterback, trying to pitch with his left hand, needs to get that out a little more in front. So Schuette, young guy,
you got to sell that counter.
Going to get out in a hurry, right? Levy needs to make that pitch out there. Left-handed, it makes it tougher.
5 minutes to play. You know, Cal's not scored in the second half as they run that wide receiver screen again to Sean Young, junior out of Berkeley. Well, Coach
Stanley
Tedford,
Jackson's a nice tackle there.
He's had a nice second half playing for Dominic Dixon in the backfield. Will Coach Tedford be that alarmed or concerned with the play of the offense in the second half after they scored 5 offensive touchdowns in the first half? They've not scored here in the second half.
Remember, you're rotating through guys, not only quarterbacks, but linemen too. You're missing a lot of your guys up front. You're rotating through tailbacks. Marshawn Lynch hasn't seen the field. So there is concern, and he will correct it as a point with the understanding that his starters were not in the game. Almost a great catch by Sean Young.
Nice try. Sean could not quite get the foot in bounds. Just out.
Stretched everything out to catch that ball. The corner route again. Levy puts it up. Oh, just misses getting that foot in. Good call by the official, but a great catch. It just doesn't quite count.
So 4th down coming up for the Bears. And they're kind of in no man's land. They're going to run an offensive play here. It'll be a long field goal. 47, 48 yards. Don't want to punt here. They'll go for it. Here's a blitz up the middle. And a little long shoot. He made the catch. I don't believe it. And he's just shy of the first down by 2 yards.
Wow.
What a catch he made.
That is a circus catch. Ball a little bit outside, and he tips it to himself.
He just kept it airborne where he could run it down. An incredible catch by Schuette.
Great body control to be able to pull that thing in. See, Levy opens the hips, has to get it out in a hurry. Schuette, tip, got it up again.
Wow.
One more time just for good measure, and then one-handed at the end. What a great catch. And all that while guys have a beat on him and they're trying to knock him out. Coach Ron Gold talking to him.
That's probably the best failed 4th down attempt I've ever seen.
It was a good one.
I mean, that's about as good as you get when you go for it on 4th and don't get it. That was quite a series. Schuette's had quite a second half, and some have been nullified. That was a very exciting catch and run, but just short. The Bears will turn it over on downs. 4:02 to play. Bears on their way to a 2-1 start. One of the more sound defenses in the nation.
Oh, absolutely. And Bob Gregory, I think one of the best D coordinators around. He works extremely well with his system, fitting it to the players that he has, and obviously he has some great players here right now. Mebane, Bishop, all of the defensive backs. But Bob Gregory, extremely talented coach, and handles the defense by himself. Tedford stays very focused on the offense. Bob Gregory runs that whole defensive side of the ball.
And they're going to chance to play a lot of their young people and their backup people. Derek Hill in on the tackle there. Let's go back as this is just an incredible play. And this, he tipped it once, twice, and a third time.
I feel like we should be hearing circus music. I mean, what a catch. You catch it a couple times, and you have to think about this, too. There's a bunch of green helmets aiming for him while he's trying to do that. So he has to have the concentration to focus that out and still keep his eye on the ball and make that catch.
2nd down and 8. They run the draw. This is Mebane down the sideline. Their backup fullback. And he has a pretty good run. They're using all of their running backs. We've seen a little bit of McGee to open the game. O'Connell, McClintock's got some carries, and now Mebane is getting some chances to play. Meanwhile, some more work on the sideline. This is Brian Van Meter. Another quarterback, a 4th quarterback for Cal, may get some playing time today.
If you have the opportunity, it never hurts to get guys snaps in games. It keeps everything fresh.
You never know.
During the season, once they hit Pac-10 play, you're not going to get an opportunity for a lot of these guys to see the field. So giving them a little whiff of playing time now will keep it fresh during the regular season when it starts to become a grind.
And Meter is from Aptos High School, where one of Jeff Tedford's favorites, Trent Dilfer, now playing with the 49ers, played in high school. He may get some playing time here. Unless the clock runs out. 2.5 to play in the game. 2nd and 7 coming up for Portland State. Portland State will begin their Big Sky Conference schedule next week at Weber State. And throw down the sideline and just slightly overthrowing his target is their 3rd-string quarterback, Rob Freeman. Pimentel on the coverage that time, running down the sideline.
Well, it was a tight end, Kevin McLaughlin, that they were looking for in the route. And as a quarterback, you're taught when you've got guys downfield, you put the ball up, put a little air underneath it, and let them run to it. Well, a lot of receivers have that next gear once the ball goes up. They can get the ball. Tight ends don't generally have that second gear.
Generally.
Some.
There are some tight ends.
Some guys can go get it, but you put that ball up in the air, it better be on target because most of those big bodies aren't going to chase it down.
The guy playing for the Niners may have that gear.
Oh, yeah.
Vernon Davis.
He, 4.39 at the combines.
He shattered all the records.
At 256 pounds, that's a guy that can move.
Well, they keep the ball, and Van Meter may not get a chance to play. Here's Portland State able to convert there on 3rd down. Well, they keep the ball with 2:14 to play. That was Matt Smith on the catch, and he's from the Bay Area. Went to St. Ignatius Prep. They have 3 players on their team that went to St. Ignatius, including a couple of wide receivers, Marshall Thompson and Matt Smith. Also, Josh Evans went to St. Ignatius. They fumble the snap from center, and the Bears are diving all over it, and a flag will come in late. A couple of flags on
late
a late hit.
That's going to be a late hit. One of the Bears jumped in late.
McIntyre got in after the ball was already recovered.
John Allen had gone in, wrapped up the quarterback, and recovered the ball, and then
dead ball, personal foul, number 42 of the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Shea McIntyre coming in late.
Just arrived late, went for the loose ball on the ground and wound up with a personal foul.
Ball on the ground, okay, plays dead there. That's not quite allowed.
Now John Allen, the defensive tackle, already had the tackle on the recovery. Was that 4 personal fouls for Cal?
The ball was already down because the quarterback picked it up on his knees, so before Allen ever got to it, it was down.
Well, Jeff Tedford will have some coaching points when he reconvenes his Bears, getting ready for Pac-10 play.
The line is, I don't care whether you're a starter or a fourth-string guy, you play it right.
You've heard that speech before.
On a number of occasions.
2 minutes to play. Joe Meehan able to push out a little bit for Portland State.
The thing about speeches like that, and again, as a vet, a guy who played for a long time, you hear them and you understand them. You have 115 guys or 100 plus guys on your team. And if you let one guy slip, it all starts to slip. If you don't maintain discipline amongst the whole unit, discipline goes away. When you see these teams that have talent but aren't making the plays, it's because somewhere along the line, discipline slipped and the guys aren't focused. This gentleman is not going to let discipline slip. Both of these coaches actually very good at keeping their guys in order.
Coach Tedford is already preparing his thoughts for what he's going to tell his club in the locker room. This time Freeman does not throw it after he crossed the line of scrimmage. Eric Morup, backup linebacker for the Bears, on the tackle. And we are going to hear from Coach Tedford just after the final gun. Scott Marsh will grab the head coach of the Bears and we'll get his thoughts. A loss in Knoxville 2 weeks ago, a win last Saturday here against Minnesota. This win over a Division I AA school. And the Bears will get into conference play next Saturday at 2-1. And I don't know, maybe it was just the opener in Knoxville and the fact that we had number 1 versus number 2 last week with Texas and Ohio State and the 7 top 25 matchups today. But I could never recall a college football season with more anticipation than this
There's
one.
been some amazing big-time program matchups this season. Scheduling has been outstanding. And that's how it should be. You know what? If you're going to go through and talk about the BCS and bowl games and everything else, let the big boys play each other and work it out on the field.
And I think one thing is clear, that Nate Longshore is set to begin his Pac-10 play. First Pac-10 game for Nate will come up next Saturday here against Arizona State. The final gun will go. And the way it was at halftime is the way it will end. It was 42-16 at halftime, so I think Tim Walsh has to be a little happier with the play of his defense in the second half. And for Jeff Tedford, even though they win big, I think he's got some things he wants to point out to his team after.
And that's good about a game like this, though, too, to have something to work on after the game. You go in and you work somebody out, you blow them out, you come into your meetings the next day. Sometimes it's hard because you're laughing, joking, having a good time. You always need to have something to work on. Jeff Tedford, extremely detail-oriented. He would rather have something to work on than look at it and not have it.
And as you mentioned, he's a classy guy. He could have scored more today in the 42, but he called off the dogs. He did not play Marshawn Lynch in the second half after he had 6 carries for 112 first-half yards, including a 71-yard tackle-breaking touchdown run down the sideline. And let's hear from the coach of the Bears, Jeff Tedford, downstairs with Scott Marsh.
All right, Greg, thank you, Coach Tedford. Most of your damage done in the first half today. Assess your team's overall performance.
Well, the first half I thought was pretty solid. Second half got really sloppy. We tried to get a lot of players in to play in the second half and kind of shot ourselves in the foot with penalties, which we're going to address.
Obviously, you've got ASU next week, your Pac-10 opener. Some concerns on the offensive line. How do you feel going into that first contest?
I feel fine going into the first contest. Scott Smith, we'll have to evaluate how he's doing, but we should be fine offensively as far as the health of our offensive line.
Nate Longshore today had that early interception, but for the most part played well.
Yeah, that first play that guy came from, he didn't even see him, obviously, but after that he settled down and was very, very sharp. 2 weeks in a row now he's been very sharp.
Well, great win today and best of luck in the Pac-10 opener next week.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back up to you, Greg.
Well, Longshore clearly was very strong in the first half, throwing those 2 touchdowns, Mike. He wound up 15 of 23 for 225 yards. He threw the one early pick, but you could tell by Coach Tedford, they won, but he was not happy with the way his team played in the second half.
Well, he wasn't, because he wants his backup guys to play like they're starters. Remember, all of these backups are one snap away from being on the field. They are the next in line. They have to play as sharp as the starters. And no, they don't get the snaps during the week in practice, but they need to pay attention, learn it in the meeting rooms, and be smart about it. When they get on the field, they need to play like they're starters.
All right, Desmond Bishop is ready. Marshawn Lynch is ready as well. Comcast Sportsnet production vehicles are provided by Heritage Ford of Modesto. Mike, as always, a pleasure working with you.
Oh, it was a pleasure working with you.
Number 9.
Thank you, sir.
Number 9 endures here forever. Nate
new number 9 on
is
the
picking
field.
it up from Mike Pulaski.
Yes.
One day they will retire that number, maybe for Nate coming up. There's UC Davis and Montana State coming up a little bit later on. It is all Bears as we press on to the Pac-10 opener next week against Arizona State. They are 2-1 in the non-conference schedule, and now ASU will come in. Make your plans to be here at Memorial Stadium at 12:30 next Saturday. For Mike Pulaski and Scott Marsh, Greg Papa saying so long from Berkeley, California. 42-16 Bears over the Vikings. This has been a presentation of Comcast Sportsnet. For more information, including upcoming schedules and events, log on to ComcastSportsnet.com.
We're here to make the best public university on the planet even better.
By extending the frontiers of education and knowledge.
By solving tomorrow's problems today.
And by teaching future Nobel Prize winners.
We are here to uphold more than a century of blue and gold tradition.
With new facilities to connect our students and athletes, and a transformed stadium to connect our past with our future.
That's why we're at Berkeley.
Where are you?
I'm tall enough to reach